Chapter 284, Chapter 284, Chapter 177. Martial Academy, Saint Child, Value of Fate 2, Chapter 284, Chapter 177. Martial Academy, Saint Child, Value of Fate 2 Bexenville. CM Lu Yun nodded. Just having the free access to the book collection pavilion as the Saint Child of the Martial Academy was enough to make Lu Yun happy. As for putting the interests of the Martial Academy first, it's every disciple and elder's duty, so there's nothing to be said about it. In fact, Lu Yun understood that all of this still had to do with his reputation and astounding talent that he had displayed during this period. Otherwise, it would never have been his turn to hold the position of Saint Child. Then, Yi Xingchen waved his hand, and a purple light flashed, flying to Lu Yun's front. As the Saint Child, you can't be shabby. This is the purple black star robe, a defensive superior profound artifact that can absorb 30% of the strength of a full-strength strike from a rune seed realm powerhouse. Hiss! Golden body realm elders in the hall gasped in astonishment. Most of them didn't even possess a superior profound artifact up to now, let alone a defensive one. Defensive superior profound artifacts are incredibly precious, and their value could even rival ordinary treasure artifacts. Lu Yun was even more shocked, completely stunned by the purple black star robe. Superior profound artifact, and it's a defensive type superior profound artifact, something he had never dared to dream of. Back then, in the exchange manual, a mere low-level mysterious weapon cost 150,000 points, which he didn't dare even to look at. How many points acquired by slaying demon beasts would he need to exchange for such a defensive-type, superior profound artifact? This number, Lu Yun could no longer bear to imagine. Yi Xingchen flicked his sleeve, and a golden token appeared out of nowhere, falling in front of Lu Yun. This is the identity token of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy's Saint Child. With this token, you can command disciples or other elders of the Martial Academy. Lu Yun glanced at it. This Saint Child token wasn't much different from the token he had previously received as a Star Palace disciple. The only difference was that the token was golden and looked more prestigious. Besides that, there were 2 additional characters on the token, Saint Child. It seemed that Yi Xingchen had thought of something. In a serious tone, he said, "Right, aren't you the honorary executive of the Alchemist Association of Ling Province?" "Yes. In that case, the position of the Pill Medicine Building Master has been vacant for a long time. You might as well take up the responsibility. As the Pill Medicine Building Master, you can use the Martial Academy's various spiritual materials and resources, but you have to provide the corresponding pills." Yi Xingchen said, utterly serious. As far as he knows, Lu Yun's alchemy talent is extremely frightening and unparalleled at the Ling Province Alchemy Conference. Moreover, he suppressed all other alchemy geniuses. Soon after that, he concocted a 4th-grade pill with pill patterns and was promoted to the position of honorary executive in the Alchemist Association's headquarters in Ling Province. Such good resources must be used and not wasted. Lu Yun hesitated. "Dean, I can't stay in the Martial Academy for a long time. As for the position of the Pill Medicine Building Master," Yi Xingchen waved his hand and laughed. "It's all right, the position has been vacant anyway." Since the other party had said so, Lu Yun naturally wouldn't refuse and gladly accepted the gentleman's job. "All right, I shall take up the position of Pill Medicine Building Master later. Before I leave, I'll make sure the Pill Medicine Building's stock of pills is abundant." "Ha, that would be even better. But don't let it affect your cultivation." Yi Xingchen nodded slightly. The Flying Spirit Martial Academy's alchemists were scarce, especially high-level alchemists, which made the supply of 4th and 5th-grade pills come exclusively from the Alchemist Association. These pills weren't free, and the price for them was not small. With a talented alchemist, like Lu Yun taking over the pill medicine building, the situation wouldn't deteriorate but would only get better. Then, Yi Xingchen looked at Lu Yun with even more admiration in his eyes. Genuinely talented, hard-working in cultivation, and possessing extraordinary innate talent, such a person was undoubtedly an all-around genius. Yi Xingchen was genuinely delighted that the Flying Spirit Martial Academy produced such a talent. The only regret was that he hadn't taken him under his wing and formed a bond of apprenticeship when Lu Yun was weak, although Gu Yuan wasn't bad, and his talents surpassed 99% of Ling Province's geniuses. He still paled in comparison to Lu Yun. Otherwise, he wouldn't have allowed Lu Yun to become the Flying Spirit Martial Academy's saint child. In the end, Lu Yun left the Straight Sun Hall feeling satisfied. Before this, he was just an ordinary Star Palace disciple. But in such a short time, he had transformed, not only becoming the first saint child of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy, but also simultaneously holding the positions of Academy Elder and Pill Medicine Building Master. Such a change in identity could only be described as dreamlike. In addition, he also obtained a purple-black star robe, the value of which was comparable to that of an ordinary treasure artifact. It was simply ecstatic. Lu Yun tried his best to suppress the joy in his heart and blissfully walked towards the back mountain. At the same time, the news of Lu Yun becoming the Martial Academy's saint child, as well as serving as the dean and the head of the Pill Medicine Building, quickly spread throughout the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. Such news was like a storm, sweeping through instantly and causing a huge sensation and impact. For a time, there were voices discussing Lu Yun throughout the academy. However, such matters had nothing to do with Lu Yun. Upon arrival at the back mountain, he began seclusion to improve himself. Name: Lu Yun Force, Flying Spirit Martial Academy, Cultivation Technique, Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon, Transforming Origin Chapter, Perceive Truth, Astonishing Wind Extreme Saber Classic, 5th Layer, Life Destruction 100%, Life Destruction Saber Techniques, 1st Layer, One Strike Ensigns 100%, Wind Thunder Manual, 2nd Layer, 3000 Thunder Movement, 100%, Fist Scripture, 1st Layer, Red Sun Breaks the Sky 1%, Finger Scripture, 1st Layer, Formless Tribulation Finger 1%, Innate Talent, Level 8 Martial Arts, Transforming Origin Realm Extreme, Energy Value, 31,464 for automatically added per day. Conception, Slaughter Conception, 3rd rank, 35%. Thunder Conception, 2nd rank, 27%. Skill, Level 4 Alchemy Technique, 81%. Talent, White Lotus Flame, 4th rank, 1%. Luck Value, 10, becoming the Saint Child of Flying Spirit Martial Academy, representing the Flying Spirit Martial Academy in the world. Note 1. Luck value increases the grade of weapons or treasures and fuses the same type of weapons. Note 2. Automatically increases by 1 per day. HM? Lu Yun's gaze suddenly condensed, staring intently at the last item on the panel. Luck value? And it can also increase points for weapons or treasures. 2 identical weapons can be fused. This perverted function stupefied Lu Yun. Doesn't that mean I won't have to worry about finding suitable weapons anymore? And I won't have to worry about weapons affecting my accumulation of energy value? Lu Yun's eyes gleamed. This luck value came just in time. Looking at the luck value on the panel again, Lu Yun couldn't help but cry out in his heart, as long as I have enough energy value, I can upgrade my dragon scale saber to an immortal weapon. Although he didn't know if there were immortal weapons in this world. Did that matter? After calming down the waves of emotion in his heart, he realized that using luck value to upgrade weapons was a difficult task. The panel is great in all aspects, but it doesn't provide a user manual, so you have to figure everything out on your own. Afterward, Lu Yun took out the dragon scale saber, and focused his mind on luck value. After waiting for a while, there was no movement. He tried the opposite approach, focusing his mind on the dragon scale saber. After waiting for a long time, there was still no movement. I don't believe it. This time, Lu Yun divided his mind in two, one focused on luck value and the other on the dragon scale saber. Still no success, which left Lu Yun somewhat angry. After pondering for 10 minutes, Lu Yun decided to use the simplest and most cliched method. He sank his mind and silently chanted in his heart, "Upgrade dragon scale saber." The next moment, a response finally appeared on the panel showing a message. Insufficient luck value. Dragon scale saber is a special mysterious weapon and requires 100 luck value to be upgraded from mid-level mysterious weapon to top-grade mysterious weapon. Lu Yun's eyes narrowed slightly. 100 luck values. Doesn't that mean he has to wait about 3 more months? Moreover, it takes 100 luck value just to upgrade from mid-level mysterious weapon to top-grade mysterious weapon. What about upgrading from top-grade mysterious weapon to superior profound artifact? At this thought, Lu Yun suddenly felt that luck value wasn't as attractive as he thought. I might as well just use my energy value to improve my cultivation techniques. Gently shaking his head, Lu Yun's spirit returned to his panel. Chapter 285, Chapter 285, Chapter 178. A Terrifying Finger, Future Self? Chapter 285, Chapter 178. A Terrifying Finger, Future Self? Bexenville. See him immediately. Lu Yun calmed his mind and focused his thoughts on the red sun breaks the sky technique. Upgrade. In an instant, the energy value on the panel sharply decreased by 12,000. At the same time, a scene reappeared in his mind of a man in gray practicing his fists. This gray-clothed man had no foundation in fist techniques, but he was a saber cultivation expert. So his mastery of the basics came quickly, and his fist techniques became stronger and stronger. One day, he finally began to practice the red sun breaks the sky. Relying on his unrelenting will and excellent talent, he achieved perfection in just half a year. The memory of less than a year of cultivation quickly became a torrent in Lu Yun's mind, which he fully absorbed. Now Lu Yun stood atop a high peak, his purple-black star robe fluttering in the wind, his eyes suddenly falling on a distant mountain peak. Good. I'll use you to test the power of red sun breaks the sky. Lu Yun laughed softly, stepped into the air, golden light flashing under his feet, ripples appearing. In 2 or 3 steps, he had crossed several hundred meters. Roar! Lu Yun roared and descended from the sky, stirring the pure yang strong origin, his right fist glowing like a sun, breaking through layers of space, and falling toward the mountain peak several hundred meters high. Hiss, hiss, hiss. It seemed as if the spiritual energy between heaven and earth was being suppressed, sweeping frantically to the sides, and under the sun-like fist, there was only a vacuum zone. Boom! The huge fist fell. The mountain collapsed with a rumble, shattered rocks flew through the sky, and wild beasts scattered and fled in fear. The powerful commotion caused the martial academy to tremble. Lu Yun, in a flowing purple robe with his hands on his back, revealed the demeanor of a fist technique expert with his calm and indifferent gaze. Glancing at the ruined mountain peak, a faint arc formed at the corner of his mouth. This one punch could split mountains. What demon beasts could withstand it? Still, his path was far from invincible. Having inflated with pride briefly, Lu Yun quickly calmed down again. He hadn't forgotten about the scene of a golden body realm peak cultivator and a 6th rank peak demon beast fighting. The terrifying power he witnessed, capable of destroying mountains and seas with just a wave of their hand, was far more potent than his red sun breaks the sky technique. It wasn't that the red sun breaks the sky technique was weak. It was that Lu Yun was still too weak. his numerous methods and strong combat power amounted to no more than the transforming origin realm. To further improve his combat power, he could only improve his realm. Unfortunately, he had only recently made a breakthrough. If he were to break through again, the consequences would be unthinkable, far beyond the explanation of being a monstrous genius. It's a shame. There's no method to conceal my realm. Lu Yun sighed to himself. He'll have to put up with it for a while longer. Golden light flashed under Lu Yun's feet, and in a few steps he returned to the highest peak. Here, he was the closest to the stars, and he could reach out and touch them, feeling most at ease. Sitting on a green stone, bathed in a silver moonlight, and feeling the gentle breeze blowing over the mountain peak, Lu Yun felt incredibly peaceful and relaxed. For a moment, a seemingly absurd thought crossed his mind. If he had a few close friends and a love interest, they could all hide in this mountain peak. Together, they'd enjoy the spring blooms, cool winds in summer, silvery moons in autumn, and the snowy winters. The cycle of days passing and the cloud patterns changing with the rotation of the 4 seasons would not be a wasted life. Luckily, it was just an absurd thought. A lightning arc flashed in Lu Yun's eyes. Immediately, he flicked his sleeve, lightning splattering, and the blooming 100 flowers on the mountain top quickly shattered, struck by thunder. Whoever obstructs my eternal life shall die. Lu Yun was now in the transforming origin realm, but his body was as strong as a gold body, extending his life to 200 years. 200 years of life, to ordinary people, was barely considered eternal life. But compared to Rune Seed Realm cultivators with a lifespan of 300 years, it still fell short. After the Rune Seed Realm came the Golden Core Realm, where one's lifespan would multiply, allowing them to live for 500 years. Above the Golden Core Realm was the Heavenly Human Realm, with a lifespan of 800 years. Mori Jin was only a little over 800 years old. First, set a small goal, live for 1,000 years. Lu Yun's eyes shone brightly, thinking to himself, upgrade. The moment the thought landed, the energy value on the panel was instantly consumed by 15,000, leaving only 4,464 points. As for the changes in the energy value, Lu Yun didn't have time to pay attention. All his attention was focused on the gray figure in his mind. Perhaps it was due to the gradual strengthening of his spiritual power, but Lu Yun now had an impression of the gray-clothed man's face. It was the face of a young and handsome man who bore a striking resemblance to himself, devoid of any emotion, and sat cross-legged in the star-filled sky, cultivating. After an unknown period, a black-robed elder suddenly appeared. His eyes shadowed as he looked at the gray-clothed youth in cultivation, laughing heartily. Instantly, he waved his sleeve, releasing a giant seal that emitted a golden light. The force of heaven and earth surged. The seal transformed into a massive mountain, and it pressed down on the gray-clothed youth. Under the stardust, a furious wind rose, and in that moment, the gray-clothed youth opened his eyes. He looked calmly at the mountain as it quickly descended, and his lips moved slightly. Watch closely. The next finger will be spectacular. Lu Yun felt an illusion that the person was speaking to him. Before he could marvel, he saw the gray-clothed youth already reaching out his hand. With a gentle tap of his index finger, the sky trembled, and a dazzling light streaked through it, transforming into a flood dragon coiling at one moment, a dancing vermilion bird in the next, then a leaping white tiger, and at other times, a colossal star, formless and indefinable. This was the formless tribulation finger. Chapter 286, Chapter 286, Chapter 178. Terrifying finger, future body, _2. Chapter 286, Chapter 178. Terrifying finger, future body, _2 Bexenville. Boom. The formless tribulation finger and the giant seal colliding like huge mountains made the starry sky momentarily dim. The starlight filling the sky was absorbed and transmitted somewhere by the shattered space. In a crackling sound, the enormous falling mountain was pierced through, the dazzling golden giant seal shattered and scattered into the boundless starry sky. The invisible and formless finger continued to pierce through the void, breaking through everything, crossing layers of space, and went straight to the old man in the black robe. How? The old man in the black robe hadn't even spat out a word before his head was pierced through, and his body exploded in the starry sky. Sun and moon were without light, and stars were unbrilliant. Everything was extinguished. Lu Yun's eyes suddenly opened, and a ray of starlight flashed across. Everything was silent, and the galaxy was reenacted. So strong, so terrifying. Lu Yun's pupils were still filled with disbelief. This was the first time he had witnessed such a powerful collision. The fights of Golden Body Realm peak experts were like children's games in comparison, with no sense of appreciation at all. However, does the formless tribulation finger have such terrifying power? Lu Yun's heart suddenly moved. Let me give it a try. He activated his memory, and waves of memories flooded in like a tide. Soon, he understood everything about the formless tribulation finger very clearly, as if he had practiced it for dozens of months. Following the gray-clothed youth's movements, the aura origin in his body surged, and he pointed his index finger at the cliffside of the cliff shrouded in clouds and mist below him. Whoosh! A golden pillar of light shot out, like a heavenly pillar falling from the galaxy. It was dazzling and had unparalleled power. Instantly, the clouds in the valley churns, and the mist steamed up. The formless tribulation finger landed on the precipitous cliff. Rumble! The mountains trembled, and rubble splattered. A deceptively deep cave appeared on the towering cliff. Compared to the gray-clothed youth's finger that pierces the galaxy and shatters the void, it's less than 1/10,000th of the power. Lu Yun shook his head lightly, and then his mind landed on the panel again. Name: Lu Yun Force, Flying Spirit Martial Academy Cultivation Techniques, Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon, Transforming Origin Chapter, Perceive Truth, Astonishing Wind Saber Manual, 5th level, 100% Destruction, Life Destruction Saber Techniques, 1st level, One Strike Ensigns 100%, Wind Thunder Manual, 2nd level, 3000 Thunder Movement, 100%, 5th Scripture, 1st level, Red Sun Breaks the Sky 100%, Finger Scripture, 1st level, Formless Tribulation, Finger 100%. Innate Talent, Level 8 Martial Arts, Peak of Transforming Origin Realm Energy Value, 4,484, increased by 4 every day. Conception, Slaughter Conception, 3rd rank 35%, Thunder Conception, 2nd rank 27%. Skills, Level 4 Alchemy Technique, 81%. Talent, White Lotus Flame, 4th rank 1%. Luck Value, 13. The luck value has increased by 5 points. Has it been 5 days already? As for the rapid passage of time, Lu Yun found it somewhat inconceivable. In his view, no more than a dozen hours had passed at most. Lu Yun also recalled the scenes of the gray-clothed man practicing and fighting. Could it be that this gray-clothed youth was too strong, exceeding a certain limit, to the extent that it affected my judgment of time? Upon thinking of this, Lu Yun couldn't help but re-examine the process of using energy points to increase his cultivation. That gray-clothed youth who had appeared in his mind should be himself, or perhaps even his future self. Because the future had infinite possibilities, every summoned future self had different strength levels. And this time, he was able to summon such a powerful future self, like winning a grand prize while constantly gambling and suddenly having luck explode. Thinking of this, Lu Yun couldn't help shaking his head, feeling that his thoughts were getting more and more far-fetched, to even come up with the idea of a future self. If just those few energy points could summon his future self, then his future self would be too cheap. Gathering his thoughts and looking at the time, it was almost the beginning of the day. Lu Yun's figure flickered as he went down the mountain. Pill Medicine Building. Senior Brother Lu. As soon as Lu Yun came to the Pill Medicine Building, he heard a crisp voice full of joy. He looked up and saw two graceful, beautiful young girls walking hand in hand. Lu Yun recalled for a while, finally making these two people coincide with the figures in his mind. "Hello, Senior Brother Lu." The younger girl, Chun Meng Han, cheerfully called out. The older girl, Chen Yasi, acted more composed and respectfully said, "I have met Saint Child." Lu Yun did not care about the different appellations, merely smiled and nodded in response. He saw that they had just come out of the Pill Medicine Building, so he asked, "What do you think of the Pill Medicine Building?" Since he had agreed to take on the position of the Pill Medicine Building's master and intended to improve and manage it well, it was necessary to conduct a preliminary investigation. The Chun sisters did not expect Lu Yun to suddenly ask such a question, and they were momentarily tongue-tied. At this time, they were unaware that Lu Yun had already taken on the role of the Pill Medicine Building's master. "It's all right. Take your time to think about it. Whether the quality of the pills in Pill Medicine Building is up to standard, whether the types are complete, whether there are pills you want, and whether they can meet the needs of the Martial Academy disciples, and so on." Lu Yun waved his hand and said, "Walk with me to the Pill Medicine Building and think as we go." "Yes, Saint Child." And so Lu Yun led the Chun sisters into the Pill Medicine Building. "Greetings, Saint Child." "Greetings, Saint Child." Seeing Lu Yun entering, the Martial Academy disciples all greeted him respectfully. Lu Yun smiled and nodded, then led the two girls straight to the third floor. Chapter 287, Chapter 287, Chapter 178, Terrifying Finger, Future Body? _3, Chapter 287, Chapter 178, Terrifying Finger, Future Body? _3 Bexenville. CM Huangqi's eyes widened with shock as he saw Lu Yun approaching. Then, recalling the incident in Straight Sun Hall a few days ago, he immediately bowed and said, "Greetings, Lord of the Pill Medicine Building." Upon hearing Huangqi, the man in charge of the Pill Medicine Building, called Lu Yun Lord of the Pill Medicine Building, Chun Meng Han and her sister's mouths gaped wide open in surprise. Lord of the Pill Medicine Building? Lu Yun is actually the Lord of the Pill Medicine Building? Little stars twinkled in Chun Meng Han's eyes as she grew even more impressed by Lu Yun. Her sister, Chun Yawei, thought to herself, "No wonder he is the Saint Child." No need for formalities. Elder Huang. Lu Yun waved his hand and gestured for the two young women behind him to find a place to sit. "Lord, are you here to start taking charge of the Pill Medicine Building?" Huangqi looked at Lu Yun before him, his heart filled with mixed feelings. Just a few days ago, Lu Yun had come to the Pill Medicine Building to exchange pills with him personally. Who could have thought that in the span of a few days, he would transform from an ordinary disciple to the Lord of the Pill Medicine Building? Aside from being Lord of the Pill Medicine Building, he was also the Martial Academy's Saint Child. Lu Yun shook his head and smiled. "I don't have that much time to manage the Pill Medicine Building, and I won't be staying in the Martial Academy for long. The future management of the Pill Medicine Building will still be your responsibility." "All right, just let me know if there's anything you need." Huangqi replied, "Well, I need to collect all the 4th grade and above pill recipes and corresponding spirit herbs from the Pill Medicine Building. In preparing for a grand alchemy session," Lu Yun continued. Upon hearing this, Huangqi's spirit was lifted, and he chuckled, "Ha! As long as you say this, my lord, I can rest assured." The pill medicine building's stockpile of spirit herbs has grown like a mountain due to the lack of high-level alchemists. It'll have someone arrange them. As for the pill recipes, it'll get them now. With that, Huang Qi hurriedly left and took a right turn outside the door. Though he was an elder of the Golden Body realm, he was only a fourth-grade alchemist in the field of alchemy and could only refine some ordinary fourth-grade pills. Nevertheless, he held the highest rank among the alchemists in the Flying Spirit Martial Academy, which enabled him to manage the pill medicine building for so many years. With what I've mentioned earlier, what are your thoughts, junior sisters? After Huang Qi left, Lu Yun turned his attention to Chun Menghan and Chun Yawei. Chun Menghan, being relatively innocent and straightforward, replied, "Senior brother Lu, everything about the pill medicine building is good, except the prices that are too high. My sister and I had a hard time gathering enough contribution points, but we couldn't exchange many pills as our points were exhausted." Well, that's one point. Lu Yun agreed, but changed the topic. However, the pill medicine building has its reasons for setting these prices. If the prices are too low, it would result in Martial Academy disciples becoming too dependent on pills, which would be detrimental to their future martial arts development. Having exchanged many pills himself, Lu Yun believed that, if considered solely from the pill medicine building's perspective, the contribution points required for each pill were not too high. In his case, he would exchange pills by the bottle, and often multiple bottles at a time. As for other Martial Academy disciples, although they couldn't accumulate contribution points as quickly as Lu Yun, exchanging a few pills at a time wouldn't be an issue. 4 pills that help with martial arts progression. It's best to take 3 or 4 pills within a major realm, which doesn't cause too much accumulated pill toxicity and still enables rapid improvements. As for Meridian Passage realm disciples, they only need 120 contribution points for a bottle of Meridian pills, or 48 points for 4 pills. But we need a lot of contribution points for weapons and cultivation techniques, and we can't afford to spend extra points on exchanges for pills, Chun Menghan complained. Lu Yun simply smiled lightly, and he was determined not to make concessions regarding the contribution points needed to exchange pills. If he were to lower the prices, the pill medicine building wouldn't be able to supply the numerous Martial Academy disciples. His main objectives in becoming the Lord of the Pill Medicine Building were twofold: to better accumulate energy points and to genuinely do something for the Martial Academy. Besides, his current accumulation of luck points was tied to the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. If the Flying Spirit Martial Academy grew stronger, he might accumulate luck points faster. But if supply exceeded demand, and the disciples became too reliant on pills, how could the Flying Spirit Martial Academy grow stronger? How could he obtain more luck points? Not to mention, if the Academy's disciples exchanged more pills, Lu Yun himself would receive fewer as the Lord of the Pill Medicine Building. As for Chun Menghan's concern, Lu Yun had his own solution. Most of the pills he refined were of high quality, which could address the problem. However, he had plans of his own and didn't want to share them with the sisters just yet. Junior Sister Yawei, tell me your thoughts. Lu Yun shifted his gaze to Chun Yawei. Saint Child, we're not very familiar with the situation at the Pill Medicine Building, but we can talk about our own experiences and those around us. Chun Yawei was more cautious and attentive to detail. All right, feel free to speak your mind. Lu Yun encouraged. Chapter 288, Chapter 288, Chapter 179. Fifth Grade Alchemist, Discussion in the Imperial Court. Chapter 288, Chapter 179. Fifth Grade Alchemist, Discussion in the Imperial Court, Bexonville. CM After Chun Yassi's sisters left, Lu Yun fell into deep thought. The situation of the Pill Medicine Building was neither too complex nor too simple. It certainly couldn't be resolved in a short period of time. Firstly, there was a lack of variety in the pills, unable to meet diverse needs. Secondly, the quality was low, especially the pills for advancing cultivation. They contained many impurities, and each use required a lot of time to expel the pill toxins. In the end, it was due to the poor skills of the alchemists in the pill medicine building. It was not so easy to improve their skills. The easiest way was to dismiss all the current alchemists and recruit new ones. However, within the martial academy, there were only a few alchemists, and it was already good to have these few. It would be easy for Lu Yun to improve the situation. With his status as an honorary executive of the Ling Province Alchemist Association's headquarters, he could invite some higher-level alchemists to the pill medicine building. But would such a pill medicine building still belong to the martial academy? This was obviously not possible. To forge iron, one must rely on their own strength. The only way was to improve the level of the alchemists in the pill medicine building. And this was precisely the biggest difficulty. It was not easy to improve alchemy skills, and it was impossible to do so within a short period of time. Not everyone was as abnormal as Lu Yun, who could rely on adding points. Looking at it this way, the current problems faced by the pill medicine building are somewhat unsolvable. Lu Yun stroked his chin, pondering. He could also personally refine the pills, but he didn't have that much time, and relying solely on him was not enough to maintain the operation of the pill medicine building. At most, he could ensure that during his time in the martial academy, the supply of high-grade pills could be sufficient. If he was not around, they would have to trade with the Alchemist Association. Building Master. These are the pill recipes you requested, all above 4th grade. Huang Qi placed a pile of differently colored scrolls on the table. Lu Yun glanced over. There were only 14 scrolls. The green scrolls recorded the 4th grade pill recipes, with 7 in total. There were 5 blue scrolls for the 5th grade pill recipes. However, the shades of the blue scrolls differed. The light blue scrolls contained recipes for ordinary 5th grade pills, with 4 in total. The dark blue scroll contained the recipe for a top-notch 5th grade pill, with only 1. Lastly, there were 2 dark blue scrolls for the 6th grade pill recipes. Next, Huang Qi took out a sumi ring and handed it to Lu Yun. Building Master. These are all the 4th grade spirit herbs accumulated by the pill medicine building. I have already instructed people to sort them out. You can check. Thank you, Elder Huang. Lu Yun took the sumi ring and immediately stood up, saying, Elder Huang, please take me to see the alchemy room. All right. Elder Huang. Saint Child has arrived. Huang Qi led Lu Yun to visit the alchemy rooms used by the alchemists of the pill medicine building, and finally brought him to a separate alchemy room. This alchemy room used to belong to the building master of the pill medicine building. Before, it was used exclusively by Huang Qi. However, now that Lu Yun had arrived, the ownership naturally had to be transferred. Lu Yun looked around. The layout of this alchemy room was similar to the one he had used in the Alchemist Association. There was a dedicated alchemy area, a cultivation room for meditation and recovery, and a separate storage room. Moreover, the alchemy furnace here looked more advanced. Building Master, have a look if you need to add any additional configurations. Lu Yun shook his head. This is good enough. From now on, I'll focus on refining pills. If nothing important arises, don't let others disturb me. Also, gather as many 4th grade spirit herbs as possible. All right, Building Master. After Huang Qi left, he faintly smiled. With such a hard-working Building Master, his burden was much lighter. All of you, listen well. No one is allowed to disturb the Building Master. Otherwise, you will be expelled from the pill medicine building. After giving this instruction, he left with peace of mind. The door of the alchemy room slowly closed, and Lu Yun opened his palm, randomly taking out a green scroll. It was the pill recipe for the recharge pill. Lu Yun's spiritual power swept over it. memorizing the content of the pill recipe, and then searched for the corresponding spirit herbs in the Sumi ring. As expected, all the spirit herbs were sorted properly, and there were about 20 sets of materials for refining recharge pills. The main constraint was due to the lack of another main ingredient. Otherwise, there would be more than 30 sets. Sharpening the knife does not slow the work of chopping wood. First, let's raise the alchemy technique to level 5. Thinking of this, Lu Yun opened the panel. Name, Lu Yun energy value, 4484, increase by 4 every day. Skills, level for alchemy technique, 81%. Each 100 energy value could raise the level for alchemy technique by 1%. The remaining energy value was more than enough to raise the alchemy technique to level 5. Upgrade. Consuming 4,000 energy value. At the moment when his energy value dropped to 484, an image appeared in Lu Yun's mind. It was a middle-aged man in a gray robe who had been refining pills persistently for decades. Finally, when his hair turned white, he managed to advance his alchemy technique to the 4th rank. At the same time, his entire upgrade process was transformed into memories and surged into Lu Yun's mind. After digesting the memories, Lu Yun abruptly opened his eyes. His pupils had lost some of their childishness and gained an added touch of maturity and wisdom. Panel. Name, Lu Yun energy value, 484, increase by 4 every day. Skills, level 5 alchemy technique, 4%. With level 5 alchemy technique and 4th rank White Lotus Flame, what success rate can I achieve when refining high-quality 4th grade pills? Chapter 289, Chapter 289, Chapter 179, 5th grade alchemist, discussion in the Imperial Court _2, Chapter 289, Chapter 179, 5th grade alchemist, discussion in the Imperial Court _2 Bexenville. CM Lu Yun gave a faint smile, opened the furnace, and began to refine pills. 2 days later, all the recharge pills were refined, and 20 jade bottles of green crystal were placed on the shelves around them. If one looked carefully, they could see that the color of 17 bottles was darker, while the other 2 had a lighter color. That's right, out of 20 sets of materials, not a single one was wasted, achieving a 100% success rate. Moreover, on average, 9 out of 10 master-grade pills were adorned with pill patterns. If Huang Qi saw such a high success rate, he would be astonished. If Elder Huang saw such a terrifying fraction of master pills, he would have to prostrate himself and say, "The leader is amazing, Saint Child is unmatched." Unfortunately, he could not see this scene, and he would not see these many pills in the end. "I'm a little tired. Let's take a break." Lu Yun grabbed 10 bottles of pills and headed to the rest area. 10 bottles of pills, all of them master grade, were neatly placed in front of him. Looking at the crystal glittering pills in front of him, Lu Yun smiled faintly. These were his labor fees. Pure yang strong origins surged, enveloping the pills and starting the refinement process. About an hour later, name, Lu Yun energy value, 20,484, increases by 4 every day. Skill, alchemy technique level 5, 4%. A normal 4th grade pill would yield 1,500 to 1,700 contribution points after refinement, but a master grade recharge pill would contribute 2,000 energy value per bottle. This was the advantage of master grade pills, and this was the role of a demonic alchemist. Continue to upgrade. Consume 10,000 energy value. Consume 10,000 energy value. Soon, 20,000 energy value was consumed. At the same time, a gray middle-aged man appeared in his mind, similar in appearance to the one who had appeared before. Seeing this figure, Lu Yun couldn't help but doubt his previous judgment, as the gray-robed middle-aged man didn't seem to have much resemblance to him, and he was a bit unrelated to his future self. Panel. Name: Lu Yun energy value, 484, increases by 4 every day. Skill: alchemy technique level 5, 44%. To reach level 5 in alchemy technique, you need to spend 500 energy value to advance by 1 progress. This consumption can't be considered small. However, only by honing the knife to the utmost can one cut more and better firewood. Lu Yun understood this very well. After resting for an hour and regaining his mental and physical strength, they were all back to their peak state, and Lu Yun continued to refine pills. As time passed, news quickly spread throughout Spirit Martial Prefecture. After half a month of fierce battle, the king of Cloud Dream Mountain Range was killed by 2 Rune Seed realm powerhouses of the Grey Wolf Army Group. Hundreds of thousands of demon beasts were defeated, and the Black Tiger Army, with the help of the Grey Wolf Army Group, entered Cloud Dream Mountain Range. From then on, Cloud Dream Mountain Range was completely incorporated into Mori Jinling Province. A month after Lu Yun entered seclusion, another piece of news came out. General of Western Border, Chu Zhongtian, killed an 8th stage fierce beast with his invincible strength and won great victory on the Narrow Line Sky battlefield. With the momentum of the great victory, the main force of the Grey Wolf Army Group advanced deep into the 100,000 Mountains, and the Western Expedition Army pushed forward into the endless Great Wilderness, expanding the territory for Ling Province. In Mori Jin era, April of the 835th year, a month after Lu Yun entered seclusion, Ling Province established another prefecture called Origin Martial. Origin Martial Prefecture was the 37th prefecture of Ling Province, and Dugu Chen, a member of the Dugu family, was appointed as the county governor by the Central Province Imperial Court. The Dugu family was one of the 10 major families in Central Province, and Dugu Chen was the eldest grandson of the family. He had an exceptional talent and was already in the middle stage of the Gold Body Realm at the age of 28. This appointment as the governor of Origin Martial Prefecture was a perfect opportunity for him to gain experience. On the second day after the establishment of Origin Martial Prefecture, the Grey Wolf Army Group wiped out the 5 major mountain ranges of 100,000 mountains and continued to advance further into the mountains. At the same time, the Morijin Demon Suppression Army began to assemble and dispatch troops aimed at the 100 sects beyond the borders. Central Province Imperial Court. Civil and military officials gathered together. At the top of the royal throne, a man in a golden dragon robe with a coronet on his head, an awe-inspiring face, and eyes as vast as the starry sky, was seated on the throne, emitting a terrifying aura that made the civil and military officials in the hall not dare to look directly at him. Second-generation Emperor Morijin. At this moment, there was almost complete silence in the hall, with only one man in court robes stepping forward to report. A month ago, White Lotus sect activities were detected in all Ling province counties, and many talented individuals were forcibly taken away. Worse yet, even county government offices were encroached upon. At the same time, other sect activities were discovered in Yu Province, Liang Province, Yong Province, Yu Province, and Yen Province in an attempt to take away Morijin's talents and seize the fate of the human race. I propose that the Morijin Demon Suppression Army should be completely mobilized to eradicate the 100 sects in one fell swoop, eliminating future troubles once and for all. After saying his piece, the man retreated to his former position. Emperor Yuan looked at the officials below, his expression unchanged. Gentlemen, what are your views on the matter of the 100 sects? Your Majesty, an elder wearing green court attire, with a white beard and a ruddy complexion, stepped forward from his side position. Our mighty Morijin is currently engaged in a full-scale battle against the demon beasts and deep in the 100,000 mountains and the endless great wilderness, already pushing to its limits. If we begin a conflict with the 100 sects as well, it may be detrimental to the battlefields in the 100,000 mountains and the endless great wilderness. In my humble opinion, the top priority of Morrigan should be to drive away the demon beasts and expand our territory. As for the 100 sects, some deterrence from the demon suppression army should suffice. We need not irreparably damage our relationship with them. Chapter 290, Chapter 290, Chapter 179. Fifth Grade Alchemist, the Chapter 290, Chapter 179. Fifth Grade Alchemist, the Bexenville. CM debate of the Imperial Court _3. With that said, a minister stepped forward. I disagree with Imperial Censor Chen's opinion. The 100 sects are constantly sowing discord and ransacking people in our great marine territory, killing officials appointed by the court, and trying to seize our fortune. It is absolutely clear that they have evil intentions. Moreover, under His Majesty's leadership, our great marine empire is growing stronger by the day, far beyond what the 100 sects and demon beasts can withstand. Senior Captain Gao Yuan spoke up, bowing his hands respectfully and making his case. I second that. We too second that. More than half of the officials in the hall supported Senior Captain Gao Yuan. The Emperor's expression remained unchanged. He turned his gaze to an aged, calm-faced minister who had been silent throughout the discussion. Prime Minister, do you have anything to say regarding this matter? Upon hearing this, the elderly minister finally perked up and slowly bowed his hands. Your Majesty, since this matter concerns both the Demon Suppression Army and the Sky Patrol Office, I believe we should seek the opinions of their two commanders and the chief of the office. Well, the Yuan Emperor nodded slightly and glanced at an armored general whose presence was as majestic as the sun. This man was the commander of the Demon Suppression Army. Your Majesty, I believe that the 100 sects will always be a threat to our great marine empire. If not completely eradicated, they will undoubtedly shake our foundation. However, the influence of the 100 sects should not be underestimated, particularly the Red Moon Demon Sect, the Heavenly Mystery Sword Sect, and the Green Cloud Sect, all of which have powerful celestial humans guarding them. Their sect's foundations are profound, backed by sect protection arrays and sect treasures. Although the Demon Suppression Army's strength can intimidate the 100 sects, if they were to engage in open warfare with them, they would be insufficient. Furthermore, with the Monster Extermination Army venturing into the Great Wilderness, continuous support is required. If the Demon Suppression Army were to wage war against the 100 sects, as well, our great marine empire's current resources might be unable to endure. Upon hearing this, all the ministers in the hall fell into deep contemplation. They, of course, could also foresee this issue, but due to their different standpoints, their views also differed. The Emperor's expression remained calm as he turned to another elderly minister. Chief Yuan, what is your opinion? Your Majesty, based on the reports from various levels of Sky Patrol Guard and Sky Patrol Envoy, the 100 sects have infiltrated many areas, and some aristocratic families are even colluding with them. As such, the threat they pose is, indeed, no less than that of the demon beasts. Yuan, he replied with a bow. As the head of the Sky Patrol Office, which oversees the entire nation, he was well aware of the situation in the 12 provinces of Marine and the harms the 100 sects could inflict. Just as everyone thought Yuan he would support a full-scale war against the 100 sects, he changed the topic. However, the provinces of Yu, Yen, and Ling are all currently engaged in warfare, and with the Monster Extermination Army delving deep into the endless Great Wilderness, nearly half of Marine's military force is tied up. At this time, if we were to wage a total war against the 100 sects without guaranteeing victory, fighting on two fronts might completely mire Marine in the quagmire of war. If those opportunistic aristocratic families were to collude with the 100 sects at that time, the consequences would be dire. However, the 100 sects have been eyeing our great Marine with malicious intent, repeatedly abducting our people and killing our court-appointed officials. If we do not take any action, they will only grow bolder. Therefore, I believe we should mobilize the Demon Suppression Army to eliminate the White Lotus sect and the Red Moon Demon sect, among others, to deter the 100 sects and display the might of our great Marine Empire. I second that. We too second that. At that moment, with the exception of the senior captain and the Prime Minister, the officials in the hall voiced their support for Yuan He. The Yuan Emperor pondered for a moment. The 100 sects are indeed a scourge to our human race, a predicament no less than that of the demon beasts. Therefore, our great Marine cannot tolerate them, and our rivalry cannot be reconciled. However, our current main objective is to expel the demon beasts and expand Marine's territory. Once our great Marine has established its rule over 3 more provinces, we will surely wipe out the 100 sects in one fell swoop. Upon saying this, the Yuan Emperor stood up from his throne, and a deeply gripping, domineering imperial aura erupted from him. Prime Minister Hu, recognizing his cue, the composed Hushio immediately perked up. At your service. I command you to do your utmost in allocating the resources of Marine's 12 provinces, ensuring that the Demon Suppression Army can set forth within a month. Can you achieve this? With a bow, Hushio answered, Your Majesty, rest assured I will not lag behind. The Yuan Emperor nodded subtly, and his eyes fell upon the commander of the Demon Suppression Army. Xiahou Shu, step forward to accept your command. Upon hearing this, Xiahou Shu stepped forward. At your service. I command you to lead the Demon Suppression Army's campaign against the 100 sects. You must see to it that they cower in fear for 100, even 1,000 years, and never dare to return to our great Marine. Can you accomplish this? I shall certainly fulfill my mission. Xiahou Shu solemnly accepted his command. Excellent. With a satisfied nod, the Yuan Emperor turned his gaze to 2 other figures. These 2 individuals were the Dean of the Origin Martial Academy, Wu Wudi, and the President of the Alchemist Union, Gu Qinfeng. How are the preparations for the Martial Academy and the Alchemist Union coming along? I have passed on your Majesty's orders to martial academies across all 12 provinces. On the day the Demon Suppression Army departs, our Martial Academy will mobilize at least 36 Rune Seed Realm experts and 1,000 gold-body realm martial artists, Wu Wudi said indifferently. Gu Qinfeng also replied, The Alchemist Union will definitely ensure a steady supply of pills for the Demon Suppression Army. The Yuan Emperor nodded in satisfaction. Good. As long as our great Marine remains united, there is nothing to fear from the demon beasts or the 100 sects. Chapter 291, Chapter 290, Chapter 179, 5th Grade Alchemist, The Debate of the Imperial Court _3, Chapter 290, Chapter 179, 5th Grade Alchemist, The Debate of the Imperial Court _3 Bexville. CM with that said, a minister stepped forward. I disagree with Imperial Censor Chin's opinion. The 100 sects are constantly sowing discord and ransacking people in our great Marine territory, killing officials appointed by the court, and trying to seize our fortune. It is absolutely clear that they have evil intentions. Moreover, under His Majesty's leadership, our great Marine Empire is growing stronger by the day, far beyond what the 100 sects and demon beasts can withstand. Senior Captain Gao Yuan spoke up, bowing his hands respectfully and making his case. I second that. We too second that. More than half of the officials in the hall supported Senior Captain Gao Yuan. The Emperor's expression remained unchanged. He turned his gaze to an aged, calm-faced minister who had been silent throughout the discussion. Prime Minister, do you have anything to say regarding this matter? Upon hearing this, the elderly minister finally perked up and slowly bowed his hands. Your Majesty, since this matter concerns both the Demon Suppression Army and the Sky Patrol Office, I believe we should seek the opinions of their two commanders and the chief of the office. Well, the Yuan Emperor nodded slightly and glanced at an armored general whose presence was as majestic as the sun. This man was the commander of the Demon Suppression Army. Your Majesty, I believe that the 100 sects will always be a threat to our great marine empire. If not completely eradicated, they will undoubtedly shake our foundation. However, the influence of the 100 sects should not be underestimated, particularly the Red Moon Demon sect, the Heavenly Mystery Sword sect, and the Green Cloud sect, all of which have powerful celestial humans guarding them. Their sect's foundations are profound, backed by sect protection arrays and sect treasures. Although the Demon Suppression Army's strength can intimidate the 100 sects if they were to engage in open warfare with them, they would be insufficient. Furthermore, with the Monster Extermination Army venturing into the Great Wilderness, continuous support is required. If the Demon Suppression Army were to wage war against the 100 sects as well, our great marine empire's current resources might be unable to endure. Upon hearing this, all the ministers in the hall fell into deep contemplation. They, of course, could also foresee this issue, but due to their different standpoints, their views also differed. The emperor's expression remained calm as he turned to another elderly minister. Chief Yuan, what is your opinion? Your Majesty, based on the reports from various levels of Sky Patrol Guard and Sky Patrol Envoy, the 100 sects have infiltrated many areas, and some aristocratic families are even colluding with them. As such, the threat they pose is, indeed, no less than that of the demon beasts. Yuan, he replied with a bow. As the head of the Sky Patrol Office, which oversees the entire nation, he was well aware of the situation in the 12 provinces of Marine and the harms the 100 sects could inflict. Just as everyone thought Yuan he would support a full-scale war against the 100 sects, he changed the topic. However, the provinces of Yu, Yen, and Ling are all currently engaged in warfare, and with the Monster Extermination Army delving deep into the endless Great Wilderness, nearly half of Marine's military force is tied up. At this time, if we were to wage a total war against the 100 sects without guaranteeing victory, fighting on two fronts might completely mire Marine in the quagmire of war. If those opportunistic aristocratic families were to collude with the 100 sects at that time, the consequences would be dire. However, the 100 sects have been eyeing our great Marine with malicious intent, repeatedly abducting our people and killing our court-appointed officials. If we do not take any action, they will only grow bolder. Therefore, I believe we should mobilize the Demon Suppression Army to eliminate the White Lotus sect and the Red Moon Demon sect, among others, to deter the 100 sects and display the might of our great Marine empire. I second that. We too second that. At that moment, with the exception of the senior captain and the prime minister, the officials in the hall voiced their support for Yuan He. The Yuan emperor pondered for a moment. The 100 sects are indeed a scourge to our human race, a predicament no less than that of the demon beasts. Therefore, our great Marine cannot tolerate them, and our rivalry cannot be reconciled. However, our current main objective is to expel the demon beasts and expand Marine's territory. Once our great Marine has established its rule over 3 more provinces, we will surely wipe out the 100 sects in one fell swoop. Upon saying this, the Yuan emperor stood up from his throne, and a deeply gripping, domineering imperial aura erupted from him. Prime Minister Hu, recognizing his cue, the composed Hushio immediately perked up. At your service. I command you to do your utmost in allocating the resources of Marine's 12 provinces, ensuring that the Demon Suppression Army can set forth within a month. Can you achieve this? With a bow, Hushio answered, Your Majesty, rest assured I will not lag behind. The Yuan Emperor nodded subtly, and his eyes fell upon the commander of the Demon Suppression Army. Xiahou Shu, step forward to accept your command. Upon hearing this, Xiahou Shu stepped forward. At your service. I command you to lead the Demon Suppression Army's campaign against the 100 sects. You must see to it that they cower in fear for 100, even 1,000 years, and never dare to return to our great Marine. Can you accomplish this? I shall certainly fulfill my mission. Xiahou Shu solemnly accepted his command. Excellent. With a satisfied nod, the Yuan Emperor turned his gaze to two other figures. These two individuals were the Dean of the Origin Martial Academy, Wu Wudi, and the President of the Alchemist Union, Gu Qinfeng. How are the preparations for the Martial Academy and the Alchemist Union coming along? I have passed on your Majesty's orders to martial academies across all 12 provinces. On the day the Demon Suppression Army departs, our Martial Academy will mobilize at least 36 Rune Seed Realm experts and 1,000 Gold Body Realm martial artists, Wu Wudi said indifferently. Gu Qinfeng also replied, the Alchemist Union will definitely ensure a steady supply of pills for the Demon Suppression Army. The Yuan Emperor nodded in satisfaction. Good. As long as our great Marine remains united, there is nothing to fear from the demon beasts or the 100 sects. Chapter 292, Chapter 292, Chapter 180, Twin Blade Men, Challenge Lu Yun, _2, Chapter 292, Chapter 180, Twin Blade Men, Challenge Lu Yun, _2 B0 Zenvel. CM, if he had reached the Golden Body realm by then, despite his monstrous talent, it wouldn't have been so shocking. According to what the elder said, Lu Yun is still in the transforming origin realm, but he is the most powerful within this realm in Ling province. His battle strength can compete with that of the Golden Body realm. For someone in the transforming origin realm to rival the Golden Body realm, it's unprecedented, unseen. I'm afraid it's not just in Ling province. Even in places like Qing province and Wu province where martial arts are more developed, there isn't such a powerful individual in the transforming origin realm. What's most unbelievable is that St. Child's alchemy technique is so monstrous it's abnormal. Nearly all the elixirs he makes are premium quality pills with pill patterns. Senior Brother Qin, if you don't believe it, you can go to the pill medicine building right now. Nearly all the 4th grade and 5th grade pills, there are pure quality. All right, I'll go and see whether this Lu Yun is as monstrously talented as you say. Qin Wuming flicked his robe and stepped towards the pill medicine building. Just after entering the pill medicine building, Qin Wuming saw many familiar faces. Most of these were Martial Academy disciples in the transforming Origin Realm and Origin Fluid Realm, who had once competed with him. He didn't expect them all to gather in the pill medicine building today, which was indeed unusual. Senior Brother Qin? As soon as Qin Wuming entered, he was recognized by a young man wearing linen clothes and a straw hat. Junior Brother Gongliang Jin? Seeing this young man, Qin Wuming felt a sudden chill in his heart and also exclaimed in surprise. Gongliang Jin was his only rival in the Martial Academy. It was either him suppressing Gongliang Jin or the other way round. It's worth mentioning that his weapon was a sword and Gongliang Jin's was a saber. The two were referred to by other Martial Academy disciples as the Twin Blade Men. However, Gongliang Jin vanished without a trace since traveling after breaking through to the Origin Fluid Realm and had not appeared since. It's been 5 years. I wonder how much progress Senior Brother Qin has made in his sword techniques. Gongliang Jin walked over, his gaze scrutinizing Qin Wuming. Qin Wuming was also curious about how much Gongliang Jin had developed in these years, and similarly examined him closely. The aura on Gongliang Jin's body was inscrutable even to him, unless they personally sparred to know the specifics. However, from this alone, he knew that Gongliang Jin's strength was definitely not much weaker than his, even if it was not stronger. We will spar someday again, but today I have another task to do. As he said this, Qin Wuming's gaze became icy cold, lightly scanning the other places. Oh, so senior brother Qin has the same idea as me? Gongliang Jin held his long saber in one arm and stroked his chin with the other hand, speaking with great interest. That's right, I want to see what this junior brother Lu Yun looks like, whether he has grown 3 heads and 6 arms. And maybe have a little sparring session with him, too. Exactly. Qin Wuming's face was solemn, and his tone serious. Of course, their appearance drew the attention of the other people in the pill medicine building. These 2 guys are back. A young man in a corner looked bitter, but a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth as he thought of something. Hee, no matter how strong you are, you're still overshadowed by a junior brother who has just entered the academy. But this junior brother is indeed very capable, even a top-tier 5th grade pill. He can make a premium elixir. 3rd floor of the pill medicine building. Huang Qi was lying quietly on a recliner, flipping through a book about elixirs and various spirit herbs. Elder, something's wrong. A disciple rushed in through the door, looking anxious. What's the rush? Huang Qi put the book away on a table next to him, speaking somewhat angrily, rushing in nervously, didn't even knock on the door. Such manners if you barged into the owner's room like this. See if I wouldn't kick you out. The disciple carefully glanced at Huang Qi and saw that he wasn't truly angry before he quietly said, Elder, the pill medicine building is now overcrowded with a lot of disciples. Overcrowded? Huang Qi sat upright, his eyelids lifted, saying, All here to exchange for elixirs? Do they have that many contribution points? He knew that right now in the pill medicine building, almost all the 4th and 5th grade elixirs were pure quality. 4th and 5th grade elixirs are expensive. Even a random one requires a lot of contribution points, not to mention pure quality elixirs. Ordinary disciples wouldn't have so many contribution points to exchange. No, I heard them say there are 2 senior brothers here to look for the owner, and they even mention him by name. Other disciples said that those 2 senior brothers even want to cause trouble for the owner. Huang Qi's eyebrows knitted, a touch of anger showing in his eyes. He coldly said, Who dares to be so bold, to challenge even the saint child? Did they eat the heart of a leopard or something? Let's go, come with me to see. With a wave of his sleeve, Huang Qi went downstairs in a huff. During this time, he had witnessed Lu Yun's terrifying alchemy level, 4th grade elixirs with a nearly 90% purity rate, ordinary 5th grade elixirs, also having about an 80% purity rate. Even for top-tier 5th grade elixirs, there was a nearly 70% purity rate. This alchemy level was simply terrifying, abnormal, and monstrous. The only thing that seemed lacking was that the percentage yield seemed a bit low, only around 50 to 60%. However, a yield of 50 to 60% is the normal level for most alchemists. But which alchemist could produce so many pure quality elixirs? Therefore, in Huang Qi's mind, he deeply respected Lu Yun. Now that there are disciples who can't recognize good from bad causing trouble, it meant they were at odds with him. Huang Qi, Chapter 293, Chapter 293, Chapter 180, Twin Swordsmanship, Challenge Lu Yun, _3, Chapter 293, Chapter 180, Twin Swordsmanship, Challenge Lu Yun, _3B0 Zenvel. CM Huang Qi went downstairs and, as expected, saw many disciples crowding both inside and outside the pill medicine building. His eyebrows rose questioningly. What are you all doing here? If you're not here to exchange pills, get back to your cultivation or go to the task hall and accept a mission. Elder, Greetings, Elder Huang. Many Martial Academy disciples greeted Huang Qi with a courteous bow, opening a path for him, while a few others stood still. These few had the lowest cultivation at the Origin Fluid Realm's middle stage. Among them, Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin were the most unfathomable, just as Huang Qi's gaze landed on the two. With just one glance, his heart was struck with an intense ripple of surprise. Elder Huang. Qin Wuming greeted with a slight bow. Gongliang Jin also took off his straw hat, showing a grin to Huang Qi. Long time no see, Elder Huang. You still remember me? I was wondering who would dare to cause trouble here in the Pill Medicine Building. Turns out it's you too. Huang Qi couldn't help but smile. Both Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin were top-notch figures in the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. Moreover, after just one glance, he knew that their strength had already surpassed his own. Elder Huang jests. We're just curious about junior brother Lu and want to get to know him better, maybe even spar with him. Gongliang Jin said with a faint smile. Lu Yun is not only the owner of the Pill Medicine Building, but he is also the Martial Academy's saint child. Even if I were to meet him, I'd have to respectfully refer to him as either owner or saint child. How could it be so easy for you to challenge him? Moreover, you're aware that he is only in the transforming origin realm now. Even if his combat strength is incredible, he is at best on par with an average gold body realm. Huang Qi advised, I suggest you let go of any little schemes. There is only one saint child in the Flying Spirit Martial Academy that suits Lu Yun. Otherwise, the dean might have already appointed a saint child by now. Upon hearing this, Qin Wuming's face showed uneasiness, and Gongliang Jin's expression was also somewhat awkward. But they had to admit that Huang Qi was right. If a saint child could have been appointed, then it would have already been appointed from among the two of them. It wouldn't have been delayed until now. But after years of honing their skills, they've returned to compete for the title of saint child once again. How could they simply give up? Those who wear the crown must bear the weight. If he wants to secure the position of saint child, he must display the strength that convinces us. Otherwise, how could Gongliang Jin and I rest assured to have him represent the Flying Spirit Martial Academy in the world? Qin Wuming spoke coldly. The saint child not only represents the Flying Spirit Martial Academy, but is also a symbol of martial arts prowess. In any case, he must accept our tests. Gongliang Jin held his sword to the side, a playful smile on his face. His intention was clear. He shared the same attitude as Qin Wuming. The surrounding transforming origin realm and origin fluid realm disciples all wore expressions as if they were watching a good show. Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin were once ferocious powerhouses that dominated the Flying Spirit Martial Academy's disciples with unparalleled talents and extraordinary strength that had long been deeply rooted in people's hearts. However, Lu Yun was not to be underestimated. They had heard about this influential figure even during their time in the narrow-line sky battlefield. Just think about it. Only at the transforming origin realm, and his reputation had already spread throughout Ling province. This was not something that Qin Wuming or Gongliang Jin could have achieved in the past. If you want to challenge the saint child, you can do so. However, you'll need his consent. Huang Qi knew that he would not be able to resolve this issue and didn't want to deal with it any further. He decided to toss the problem directly to them. I'm sure he won't refuse. Gongliang Jin said confidently with a faint smile on his face. Flying Spirit Martial Academy, on the back mountain, Thousand Extremes Cliff. The thick fog enveloped the bottomless valley, and the golden sunlight cast a dazzling glow over the vast sea of clouds, creating an incredibly beautiful sight. On the summit of the Thousand Extremes Cliff, Lu Yun sat cross-legged with his eyes tightly closed atop a tall piece of jade-like stone. The purple mystic robe fluttered in the wind, his waterfall-like black hair slightly lifted, revealing an increasingly handsome and sharp face. Chapter 294, Chapter 294, Chapter 181, Breaking Through the Original Liquid, Causing a Huge Stir. Chapter 294, Chapter 181, Breaking Through the Original Liquid, Causing a Huge Stir. B0's Nvel. CM Name: Lu Yun. Power: Flying Spirit Martial Academy Cultivation Technique. Pure Yang Martial Cannon Origin Fluid Chapter Pre-Entry. Astonishing Wind Saber Manual 5th Layer. Demolition 100%. Life Destruction Saber Techniques 1st Layer. One Strike Ensigns 100%. Wind Thunder Manual 2nd Layer. 3000 Thunder Movement 100%. 5th Scripture 1st Layer. Red Sun Breaks the Sky 10%. Finger Scripture 1st Layer. Formless Tribulation Finger 100%. Innate Talent. Level 8 Martial Arts Transforming Origin Realm Extreme Realm Energy Value I-55 000 automatically increases by 4 per day. Conception Slaughter Conception 3rd rank 35%. Thunder Conception 2nd rank 27%. Skill Level 6 Alchemy Technique 1%. Talent White Lotus Flame 4th rank 1%. Luck Value 45 Martial Academy's Saint Child. Increases by 1 every day. Looking at the massive energy value on the panel and the level 6 alchemy technique, Lu Yun felt that his tiredness and bitterness over the past month had not been in vain. No one knew how hard it was to practice alchemy except for him, manipulating the White Lotus Flame and the bursting spiritual power. However, it's been more than a month since my last breakthrough. It's time to break through again. Lu Yun's eyes were incredibly deep. Upgrade. In an instant, 1,000 energy points were consumed, and the pure Yang Martial Cannon Original Liquid Chapter entry level was achieved. Consume 10,000 energy points. Consume. The morning mist was golden, with sunlight piercing through the clouds. No one could see the figure enveloped in a golden light atop 1,000 Extremes cliff. Suddenly, the wind began to blow, and the clouds surged. Taking the peak of 1,000 Extremes cliff as the center, a strong storm began to stir. The boundless sea of clouds rolled, and the white mist shrouding the canyon was dispersed. In a sweep, the surrounding heavenly and earthly spiritual chi seemed to be attracted by a great force, converging from all directions in one direction. Tens of miles, hundreds of miles, finally thousands of miles around 1,000 Extremes cliff, the heavenly and earthly spiritual chi was being pulled, like a flood rushing towards Lu Yun. As the energy value was continuously consumed, the pure Yang Martial Cannon Origin Fluid Chapter went from entry level to small achievement, and further upgraded to great accomplishment. As the pure Yang Martial Cannon Origin Fluid Chapter reached great accomplishment, his breath was no longer suppressed. The golden light around him became even more intense, completely surpassing the gradually rising sun on the mountains. Boom! The pure Yang Strong Origin within the Dantian began to liquefy rapidly. Golden liquid spread at the bottom of the Dantian, forming a golden stream. The stream began to converge, gathering in the lowest part to form a small golden pond. The inexhaustible golden stream from afar converged into Xiaohe, which then expanded into a river rushing toward Lu Yun. The golden pond quickly expanded into a golden lake. On the lake's surface, the waves were tumultuous, rising and falling. After the pure Yang Strong Origin was completely liquefied, the golden lake transformed into an ocean. This was the Yuan Hai of the Origin Fluid Realm powerhouse. It was said that the warriors of the Origin Fluid Realm have inexhaustible true origin. The stronger the Origin Fluid Realm warriors, the deeper and broader their Yuan Hai becomes. Lu Yun's Yuan Hai was now more extensive and deeper than those at the peak of the Origin Fluid Realm. Moreover, Lu Yun's Yuan Hai was still continuing to improve, and his body was also undergoing transformation. For every breakthrough a martial artist made, the heavenly and earthly spiritual qi and newly formed true origin would cleanse and temper the body. Lu Yun absorbed more heavenly and earthly spiritual qi. The pure, yang strong origin was more pure, and the tempering effect was stronger. The sun gradually rose. Time passed quietly like water and sand. The range of the heavenly and earthly spiritual qi was affected, and the movement caused by Lu Yun's breakthrough became more and more terrifying. Moreover, this upgrade was from the transforming origin realm extreme realm to the late stage of the origin fluid realm. With the base of Lu Yun's Yuan Hai, the amount of heavenly and earthly spiritual qi needed to upgrade to the late stage of the origin fluid realm was enormous. On the other side, Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin hurried to the back mountain after learning about Lu Yun from Huang Qi. Meanwhile, those old disciples who were eager for excitement rushed to the scene. Having just experienced the frontline battlefield, most of the disciples returned to the martial academy to consolidate their cultivation, making almost all the higher-ranked disciples gather at the martial academy. At the same time, news of the twin blade men attempting to challenge the Saint Child spread like a storm throughout the martial academy. Other than those newly enrolled disciples, everyone in the martial academy knew about the reputation and rumors of the twin blade men. Not to mention Lu Yun's fame. It showed how significant the sudden storm was. I heard that the Saint Child is in the back mountain cultivating. Senior brother Qin Wuming and senior brother Gongliang Jin have already set off. We should hurry because we don't want to miss this once-in-century event. To be honest, I've never actually seen what the Saint Child looks like. I'm going to see what kind of person is worthy of being chosen by the dean as the first Saint Child of Flying Spirit Martial Academy. Qin Wuming reached the Golden Body realm 3 years ago. After 3 years of experience, he should be at least in the middle stage of the Golden Body realm. With the addition of the Sword Intent, even the late-stage Golden Body realm fighters might not be his match. I'm curious to see how the Saint Child will handle it. A series of figures turned into light, heading towards the back mountain of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. The back mountain was vast, with many peaks. Finding someone aimlessly was like looking for a needle in a haystack. I made a mistake. I should have asked Elder Huang for Lu Yun's seclusion location. Gongliang Jin thought as he flew through the air. Chapter 295. Chapter 295. Chapter 181. Breaking Through the Original. Chapter 295. Chapter 181. Breaking Through the Original B0 CM Liquid, causing a huge stir _2. However, at that moment, he suddenly sensed something and stopped, looking towards the highest peak. His gaze pierced through the obstacles, finally discerning some movements. That's a storm? And it seems like a storm of heavenly and earthly spiritual qi. Muttering to himself, he stepped into the void, crossing thousands of feet in just a dozen steps. If I'm not mistaken, this direction should be the Thousand Extremes Cliff. Driven by intense curiosity, he swiftly approached. At the same time, Qin Wuming, who had also been searching for Lu Yun's traces, discovered the fluctuations of heavenly and earthly spiritual qi coming from the Thousand Extremes Cliff and quickly headed in that direction. Golden Body realm experts can easily travel tens of thousands of miles a day, and it wasn't long before he met with Gongliang Jin. What is the situation ahead? Qin Wuming's gaze fell upon Gongliang Jin, asking nonchalantly. Gongliang Jin stood in the sky with his long saber in his back, wearing a plain robe fluttering without wind, staring down at the center of the storm. There, all things were concealed, and heavenly and earthly spiritual qi surged wildly, almost liquefying. The only visible thing was the dazzling golden light radiating from it, like a bright sun atop the Thousand Extremes Cliff exuding an awe-inspiring aura. Our junior brother Lu is not simple. Gongliang Jin's expression became somewhat solemn, lacking the casualness he had before. Qin Wuming frowned, following Gongliang Jin's gaze and seeing the brilliant golden light and the magnificent scene. His heart stirred. The powerful storm above the Thousand Extremes cliff had almost gathered half of the mountain's heavenly and earthly spiritual qi to form such a huge scale. How profound must one's foundation be to cause such a commotion during their breakthrough? Thinking of this, his face became even darker. Over the past 3 years, he had traveled through Ling, Yan, and Yu provinces, witnessing various heavenly prides and demonic talents, but he had never seen anyone with a terrifying foundation like Lu Yun. With this thought in mind, his grip on his sword tightened, and his fighting spirit grew stronger, his aura inadvertently rising, causing the void above and below him to tremble. Senior brother Qin, don't act recklessly. Lu Yun is currently in a critical breakthrough stage. If we disturb him now, we might be blamed and even punished by the dean. Gongliang Jin reminded Qin Wuming casually while glancing at him. Don't worry, I know my limits. Qin Wuming's eyes were sharp as he restrained his fighting spirit, standing tall in the sky with an otherworldly air. As the fluctuations of heavenly and earthly spiritual qi increased, many martial academy disciples rushed to the scene. This commotion, could it be that Saint Child is about to make another breakthrough? It was known by everyone that Lu Yun had just made a breakthrough last month, and it had shocked many Golden Body Realm Elders in the Martial Academy. Even the old dean was startled. But now, just a month later, he was about to make another breakthrough. And the commotion this time was 5 or 6 times stronger than the last, especially when they saw almost half of the mountain's heavenly and earthly spiritual qi surging towards it. The Martial Academy disciples were all dumbfounded. This breakthrough was simply too terrifying. If there were 5 or 6 Martial Academy disciples breaking through like this, the Flying Spirit Martial Academy's heavenly and earthly spiritual qi would be completely drained, leaving nothing for others to cultivate. He's breaking through so quickly, truly extraordinary talent. Lei Kang exclaimed. Considering Lu Yun's horrendous foundation and the commotion caused by his breakthrough, he might reach at least the late stage of the origin fluid realm. Even though he was already a peak expert in the golden body realm, having seen many geniuses and demonic prodigies, he had never encountered one with such a deep foundation in the transforming origin realm. Master, do you think Lu Yun could be the reincarnation of a celestial human, as rumored? Lei Kang looked up at Yi Xingqian in reverence. Celestial human? Yi Xingqian shook his head slightly. It's hard to say. I have lived for hundreds of years, but I know very little about celestial humans. However, one thing is certain. Lu Yun is a disciple of Flying Spirit Martial Academy, and also our Martial Academy's Saint Child, so the Academy shares his glory. At this moment, atop the sky-defying cliff, the Yuan High within Lu Yun's body continued to rise rapidly, soon surpassing the height of 20 feet. According to the foundation he had built in the transforming origin realm, a 90 feet Yuan High signified perfection in the origin fluid realm, with 99 feet being the ultimate boundary. At this point, his 20 feet Yuan High was still far from the midpoint, let alone the late stage of the origin fluid realm. If it wasn't for the energy points, I don't know when I would be able to accumulate such a Yuan High to reach perfection. While Lu Yun was delighted by his powerful foundation, he was also immensely astonished. He didn't know the difference between his Yuan High and that of other origin fluid realm martial artists, but he had a premonition. One of his Yuan High could be worth dozens or even hundreds of those of other origin fluid realm martial artists. Apart from that, the commotion caused by his breakthrough alone was not something that could be achieved by dozens of origin fluid realm martial artists breaking through concurrently. the sun slowly set in the west, and then gradually sank below the mountain. Lu Yun's breakthrough had not yet ended, and the unceasing flow of rich heavenly and earthly spiritual chi surged towards the summit of the sky-defying cliff where he was. The intensity of the heavenly and earthly spiritual chi was enough to drive any transforming origin realm martial artist mad. As the sun set and the moon rose, the vast starry sky was incredibly silent, but the mountain range beneath it was not very calm. Almost a majority of the Martial Academy's disciples and elders were drawn to the back of the mountain by the commotion caused by Lu Yun's breakthrough. This was also the time when the Flying Spirit Martial Academy's defense was at its weakest. If an enemy invaded, it would be effortless to break into the academy. On the second day, the sun once again rose high above the sea of clouds. However, the figure at the top of sky-defying cliff still remained motionless, enveloped in scorching golden light, madly absorbing the nearly liquefied, heavenly and earthly spiritual chi that continuously poured in. At the same time, the aura emanating from his body grew stronger and stronger, giving off an overwhelming sense of oppression even from afar. It's been almost a day. Saint Child still hasn't finished his breakthrough, an Origin Fluid Realm Junior muttered, not even realizing that he had already unconsciously addressed Lu Yun as Saint Child. He wasn't the only one feeling this way. The other established Origin Fluid Realm disciples felt the same. In their hearts, Lu Yun had already become an insurmountable mountain. At this moment, even the troublemakers, Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin, were beginning to feel uneasy. After continuously breaking through for an entire day and night under such dense heavenly and earthly spiritual chi, and still not done, let alone reaching the late stage of Origin Fluid Realm. Just how terrifying was his Yuan Hai? They didn't know. However, one thing was certain. In their hearts, they had once again upgraded the threat that Lu Yun posed, even placing him on equal footing with themselves. Chapter 296, Chapter 296, Chapter 182, Late Origin Fluid Realm, 3 million caddies of tremendous power. Chapter 296, Chapter 182, Late Origin Fluid Realm, 3 million caddies of tremendous power B0s and Vel. CM time gradually passed. Almost all the transforming Origin Realm and true Chi Realm disciples in Martial Academy gathered at the back mountain, eager to witness this miraculous scene. They had no choice but to come, because as the movement of Lu Yun's breakthrough became bigger and bigger, the heavenly and earthly spiritual chi surged toward this direction. Even in places like Star Tower with spirit gathering arrays, the spiritual energy they could obtain was very little. This kind of breakthrough was so overbearing that even the spirit gathering arrays could not compete. By Haoshuan, Ma Yunfei, Gu Yuan, Bailey Yi, and other rising stars, as well as Duan Qing, Qin Yun, Meng Hongfei, and others who were familiar with Lu Yun, all gathered at the foot of Thousand Extremes Cliff, watching Lu Yun's body wrapped in golden light, brutally absorbing the heavenly and earthly spiritual chi. Bai Haoshuan and Ma Yunfei were here for the spectacle. Duan Qing, Meng Hongfei, and others hoped that Lu Yun would become even stronger, while Bailey Yi and Gu Yuan showed admiration. Although Gu Yuan had become a disciple of Dean Yi Xingchen, in his heart he had always regarded Lu Yun as his senior brother. Bailey Yi not only regarded Lu Yun as his senior brother, but also always saw catching up with Lu Yun as a source of motivation for his cultivation. Regardless of what others thought, Lu Yun's cultivation was not affected by anyone. In his mind, his spiritual power surged after breaking through. His sea of consciousness space underwent another transformation, and his spiritual power became even more condensed. He could vaguely sense the existence of the great forces of heaven and earth around him, the forces of mountains and rivers, and the forces of wind and clouds. Stepping from the transforming origin realm to the origin fluid realm not only transformed true origin into liquid, but also brought one closer to the forces of heaven and earth in the grand scheme of things. Lu Yun was now rapidly approaching the late stage of the origin fluid realm. With his sea of consciousness space undergoing earth-shattering changes, his spiritual power skyrocketing and becoming more condensed, able to detect the great forces of heaven and earth and the omnipresent forces of heaven and earth. It seemed that as long as he reached out a little, he could touch it. At the same time, after being washed by the heavenly and earthly spiritual chi and tempered by a large amount of pure yang strong origin, his bones became even more crystal clear, his blood becoming even more robust, with golden blood surging and crashing through his blood vessels. At this moment, the Yuan Hai in his dantian, which had grown to more than 60 feet high, became extremely turbulent. A tremendous suction force emerged from his body and swept in all directions in an instant. The already turbulent heavenly and earthly spiritual chi became even more frantic, forming dragon-like and serpent-like shapes, coiling and roaring as they went, their roars shaking the heavens, and the momentum shaking the sky and the earth. The golden light emanating from Lu Yun's body reached its pinnacle, completely overshadowing the sunlight of the sun in the sky, as if Lu Yun, who was lying across the top of Thousand Extremes Cliff, was the real, eternal sun. Humming sounds. The vast heavenly and earthly spiritual chi was transformed into a liquid golden pure yang strong origin, forming a mighty torrent of rivers surging into the Yuan Hai, with the height of the Yuan Hai constantly being elevated and the surface boiling and surging, setting off gigantic waves. The grand momentum emanated from the flesh and echoed through the majestic and magnificent Thousand Extremes Cliff, and under the reflection of the cliff walls, heavy and muffled sounds spread in all directions. A Yuan Hai that is nearly 70 feet high. Lu Yun roared inwardly. He could feel in the Yuan Hai that the vast surface of the Yuan Hai constantly had golden aura origin fierce tigers being born, one after another. These golden aura origin fierce tigers roared, traveled along his meridians, and merged into his flesh. His physical strength and intensity were constantly increasing. If his guess was correct, his physical strength was at least 5 times more vigorous than before the breakthrough. A casual punch could produce a force of more than 1 million kilograms. At full strength, it was probably infinitely close to 2 million kilograms. The Golden Body realm was known for its powerful physical strength. However, a typical Golden Body realm martial artist would never have a physical strength of more than 250,000 kilograms when they first entered the Golden Body realm. The limit of the Golden Body realm's mid-stage would be only 1 million kg of force. The limit of the Golden Body realm's late stage would not exceed 2 million kg. Now, Lu Yun's pure physical strength could rival the late stage of the Golden Body realm. However, he had only just stepped into the late stage of the origin fluid realm. His physical body had become this strong even without condensing a gold body, which was even more terrifying than some heavenly pride with powerful physiques. It was simply outrageous. Boom. Lu Yun stood up, with golden light surging around his body. He jumped off the blue stone, and the blue stone shattered. He clenched his fist, wanting to test what level his strength had reached and whether his previous feeling was an illusion or reality. Holy shit! What is that? At this moment, whether it was the Golden Body realm powerhouses hovering in the sky or the origin fluid realm and transforming origin realm martial academy disciples on the ground, or even the eyes of Yi Xingchen, they all revealed a look of shock. That was because they saw that Lu Yun, without the aid of any external forces, actually floated in the air. Around his body, streams of air rolled, and golden aura origin fierce tigers roared and emerged, surrounding him. Humming sounds, an invisible force set the air currents spinning, sweeping the summit of Thousand Extremes Cliff into a storm center. Ha ha ha! Let's see what level my strength has reached. Lu Yun's mouth let out a hearty laughter. He moved his body, dove down, and threw a punch at the opposite towering cliff wall from a distance. Boom! That powerful force, along with countless roaring golden aura origin fierce tigers, instantly condensed into a huge fist print several feet wide in the air, crashing into the 10,000-meter high cliff. Immediately, the mountain crumbled and the ground cracked. Boulders spattered, the 10,000-meter cliff collapsed, and the ground within a radius of several hundred miles shook madly. Chapter 297, Chapter 297, Chapter 182, Late Stage of Yuan Fluid Realm. Chapter 297, Chapter 182, Late Stage of Yuan Fluid Realm, B0 Svel. CM 3 million caddies of colossal strength _ too powerful, terrifying, abnormal. Almost every person present had these thoughts in their hearts. Ha 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 ha. Lu Yun laughed loudly, his eyes filled with excitement and ecstasy. In his memory, ever since he crossed dimensions, he had never been so high profile and conceited. With every step, he had to be cautious, afraid of attracting attention, afraid of being killed. But now he no longer needed to fear or keep a low profile. At this very moment, merely with his physical body alone, he could crush most martial artists in the Golden Body realm. In Ling province, being in the Golden Body realm already made one a powerful figure. In Spirit Martial Prefecture, aside from the few discrete Rune Seed realm experts and the Peak Golden Body realm experts, no one could pose a threat to him. From this moment on, Lu Yun would truly step onto the path of the strong, no longer worrying about his lack of strength. "You're Lu Yun." A voice sounded like a sudden thunderclap. With the support of true origin, it echoed across the sky, and almost half of the mountain behind could hear the domineering voice. Lu Yun frowned slightly, turning to look at the two who arrived with strides through the air. One of them was dressed in white robes with a handsome and dynamic face, and his fighting spirit soared. The other person was dressed in plain clothes, thin and gaunt in appearance, with brilliant eyes under the brim of his straw hat. With a glance, Lu Yun took in all the surrounding circumstances, and a rough guess formed in his heart. He then focused his attention on the two who were walking on air. "Are you here to challenge me? You're very smart." Qin Wuming looked at Lu Yun and spoke faintly. "I've had my eye on the Saint Child position of the Martial Academy for a long time. Whoever gets it will have to defeat my sword first." As soon as his words fell, the long sword in his hand began to tremble wildly. A powerful sword intent erupted, stirring storm clouds in the sky. And me, Gong Liang Jin took off his straw hat, flung it aside, and it turned into a razor-sharp wheel that embedded itself in the edge of the soaring cliffs. To be honest, before this, I didn't think you were worthy of my attention, even if you possessed strength comparable to the Golden Body realm while in the transforming Origin realm. As he spoke, the long saber behind him burst out abruptly, spinning in the air for a moment before floating in front of him. The gleaming, sharp edge emanated an icy glow, as if it could slice through the very fabric of space at any moment. Hee. Lu Yun's eyes swept over the long saber, his expression slightly serious, and a faint smile formed on his face. So, how about now? He had always known that this day would come sooner or later. However, he hadn't expected that it would come a bit late. Both Qin Wuming and Gong Liang Jin gave him a powerful feeling. Notably, the moment Qin Wuming's soaring sword intent erupted, it momentarily captivated Lu Yun's heart and soul. But that was all. We don't know yet. Gong Liang Jin grinned. We'll have to test each other to find out. As his words fell, he took a single step forward, and the air exploded with a thunderous roar as the power radiating from his body crushed the surrounding space, causing it to tremble slightly. "Junior brother Gong Liang Jin, let me go first." A flash of sword light filled the air, and Qin Wuming's long sword, enveloped in chilling sword chi, pointed right at Gongliang Jin's chest. He calmly said, "After I defeat him, I'll fight with you." His sharp gaze and bone-chilling voice carried an undeniable air of authority. "Humph, even if I agree, my saber won't." No sooner had his words fallen when a saber intent just as powerful as the previous soaring sword intent burst forth. The two were known as the twin blade men of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. They were once evenly matched rivals. At this moment, one held a sword, its blade enveloped in white frost. One held a saber, its blade black as if soaked in ink. Both were Golden Body Realm powerhouses and Heavenly Pride experts who had comprehended sword intent and saber intent. With the surge of true origin, swords rang out while sabers roared. In the sky, sword and saber lights intertwined, each containing a unique, powerful force clashing and tangling with one another. For a short while, there was no discernible victor. But this scene left the spectators dumbfounded. Both of you came to challenge Lu Yun. But before anything else, why did you start infighting? Even Lu Yun appeared puzzled. After a brief moment of bewilderment, Lu Yun regained his composure and chuckled, "Actually, the two of you don't need to fight. You can come at me together." As soon as these words left his mouth, the surrounding area fell silent. What did I mishear? Saint Child actually told Senior Brother Qin Wuming and Senior Brother Gongliang Jin to come at him together? I thought I was just hallucinating, but it seems like I heard the same thing. After about 10 breaths of silence, the numerous disciples of the Martial Academy began to discuss animatedly. Even the Golden Body Realm Martial Academy elders frowned slightly. Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin were both powerful Golden Body Realm martial artists, and their sword intent and saber intent were at least at the 5th rank. Such terrifying power would be daunting even for some of the older late-stage Golden Body Realm siders. But now, Lu Yun actually told the two of them to come at him together. Was it confidence or arrogance? Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin also paused, staring at each other in disbelief, not knowing what to say. In the days when they had dominated the Flying Spirit Martial Academy, suppressing all the other disciples, Lu Yun had been nowhere to be seen. Little did they expect that now, the two of them would be so undervalued and disdained by him that they were left laughing in irritation. "I thought you would be a worthy opponent, but you turned out to be just a conceited fool." Qin Wuming snorted coldly and immediately retracted his sword intent. With a gentle hum, the long sword returned to its scabbard. Chapter 298, Chapter 298, Chapter 182, Late Stage of Yuan Fluid Realm. Chapter 298, Chapter 182, Late Stage of Yuan Fluid Realm, B0 Snvel. See 0M3 million caddies of colossal strength. As following that, he looked at Gongliang Jin and said, "That was my mistake earlier. I shouldn't have argued with you. Now no one is stopping you." Gongliang Jin's brows slightly furrowed, but he didn't say anything. He just nodded indifferently, and then looked down at Lu Yun with a lofty air, saying in a detached tone, "I am Gongliang Jin. Please enlighten me, Junior Brother Lu." Gongliang Jin. Lu Yun felt somewhat familiar. After briefly recalling, Gongliang Jin ranks 15th on the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall. However, he had left the Martial Academy 5 years ago and had been practicing alone, never making an appearance. This information quickly surfaced in Lu Yun's mind. He nodded slightly. "In that case, I ask Senior Brother Gongliang to make your move." Whether one after another or both at the same time, he didn't care. He didn't call the two of them to go together just now out of arrogance. If he hadn't said so, Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin probably wouldn't have known when to stop fighting. "Be careful." Gongliang Jin gripped the handle of his saber with both hands, and the peak 5th rank saber intent instantly rushed out. The surrounding wind and clouds surged, and the power of heaven and earth was completely mobilized. Facing this terrifying saber intent, if Lu Yun's spiritual power hadn't increased drastically, becoming more condensed, he probably wouldn't be able to muster any fighting strength in an instant. With a booming sound, Gongliang Jin's momentum instantly rose to its peak. True origin burst out like a flash flood. The saber light grew wildly, pressing horizontally toward Lu Yun. Lu Yun stood still. The mystery light on the purple-black star robe flickered, allowing the mountain-like pressure and sharp saber light to fall. Gongliang Jin's mind was frenziedly flashing. Lu Yun's attitude could either be arrogant or confident. If it was arrogance, killing him wouldn't matter. Otherwise, keeping him around would only tarnish the Martial Academy's reputation. If it was confidence, there should be no major issues for him to take this saber attack. Thinking of this, Gongliang Jin's heart was burden-free, and he released his peak 5th rank saber intent without reservation. The blade's edge was instantly extended to hundreds of feet, incredibly condensed and sharp. Break, heavy and powerful. This peerless strike, from breaking thousands of mountains, slashed down at Lu Yun's head. "I've been waiting for you for a long time." Golden light flickered in Lu Yun's eyes. Then his right hand stretched out from his sleeve, suddenly grabbed, and a roar from the golden aura origin fierce tiger burst out. The power of heaven and earth surged, forming a huge golden hand that suddenly clenched, grabbing the soaring saber light. The moment the saber light was caught, Gongliang Jin's eyes revealed a strong sense of horror. At least 90% of his strength had been used on this strike. Even weaker gold-bodied realm martial artists in the late stages wouldn't be able to block it. But now it was caught by his opponent's single hand and couldn't continue to drop, which was shocking Lu Yun's strength. Lei Kang couldn't believe his eyes. "It seems that my judgment wasn't wrong." Yi Xingqian nodded slightly, then the surrounding runes flickered and disappeared into the void. With his eyes, of course, he could see that there was no suspense in this battle. Lu Yun smiled slightly at the corner of his mouth, and then with a slight exertion of his right hand, a crisp crack sounded, and in the amazed eyes of everyone, the saber light shattered. "Senior brother Gongliang, be careful!" As the words fell, Lu Yun soared into the sky, and his 70-foot-tall gold yuan high was surging inside him, causing the temperature of the surrounding space to become scorching hot. Sizzle! 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 The air was burning wildly, and golden light filled the area around Lu Yun, quickly turning into a golden sun, breaking through layers of space and bombarding Gongliang Jin. Clang! 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 There were several crisp sounds, and the absolute oppressive realm formed by the peak 5th rank saber intent shattered, breaking the sharp saber chi. Watching the red sun break through the air, Gongliang Jin's eyes flashed with horror. However, he had been honing his skills for many years, and the number of gold body realm experts and 6th rank demon beasts he had killed were no less than 2 hands, so he had nothing to fear. Extinction cross slash. Gongliang Jin shouted loudly, advancing instead of retreating, slashing at the incoming sun. Slash! Slash! Slash it for me! In the sky, an intersecting cross slash appeared, the blazing and dazzling saber light splitting the sky into 4 sections, slashing toward the red sun. Boom! The red sun charged through. Countless golden aura origin fierce tigers roared, tearing the sharp saber light apart, and rushed forward irresistibly. With a splash, the cross saber light shattered, and a gold light soared high. Gongliang Jin was sent flying like a broken bag thousands of feet away, his body falling rapidly from the air, and his breath becoming extremely chaotic. He slammed heavily to the ground, trembling all over, with blood oozing from the corner of his mouth. That punch just now had at least 3 million pounds of force. Gongliang Jin propped himself up with his saber, half kneeling on the ground, his face filled with shock and stupor. Chapter 299, Chapter 299, Chapter 183, No More Twin Blade Men, Only the Saint Child Reigns Supreme. Chapter 299, Chapter 183, No More Twin Blade Men, Only the Saint Child Reigns Supreme. B0 Nvel. C0M. What does a 3 million kilograms force denote? Keep in mind that the utmost strength of a golden body realm advanced practitioner is nothing more than 2 million kilograms. 3 million kilograms is beyond what some peak golden body realm powerhouses can achieve. Has Lu Yun, who just made his breakthrough, already reached the power level comparable to a golden body realm peak powerhouse? Gong Liangjin couldn't believe it, but his terrible defeat, without any power in his hands, forced him to believe it. Is Gong Liangjin so weak? Qin Winning's eyes slightly narrowed as he watched Gong Liangjin being punched away. He found it puzzling. Bang! Thump! Lu Yun takes another step. The sky trembles, air under the feet ripples like water, and waves spread out like the pulsation of the earth, bringing Qin Wuming back from his contemplation. As Lu Yun's purple mystic robe fluttered, he took a dozen steps, standing high up in the open space, his eyes as cold as ice. Upon reaching the later stage of the origin fluid realm with this breakthrough, his aura origin, physical strength, and spiritual power all increased dramatically. All kinds of cultivation techniques can be utilized, whether in terms of power or mastery. All have seen a leap in quality. His punch that flew Gong Liangjin away did not surprise Lu Yun. He looked towards Qin Wuming in the distance. An invisible pressure began to spread. It's your turn. The voice was low, but it landed clear and distinct in everyone's ears. Qin Wuming looked at Lu Yun in surprise, only to meet those deep, dark, cold eyes. Huh, is it my illusion? Qin Wuming faintly saw a dominant aura on Lu Yun's body. It was nearly about to transform into a flood dragon. He had seen this kind of aura before. 3 years ago, he was traveling abroad, passing through Yu Province, and encountered a powerhouse he had never seen before. With just one sword, that person broke all of his confidence and pride. He did not know who that powerhouse was. He only knew for sure that the man was even younger than him, and when drawing the sword, a dominant aura nearly transformed into a flood dragon. Later, he accidentally found out that that was a saint child of the martial academy from Central Province, and the dominant aura was the aura of destiny. Regardless of whether it is a saint child of the aristocratic family or of the martial academy, all heavenly prides and demons who represent a powerful force outside will be blessed with the aura of destiny. Once this aura of destiny is integrated and strengthened, it will evolve into a dominant aura. Knowing this, he became more firm on becoming the martial academy's saint child. Therefore, for 3 years, he has been ceaselessly challenging one strong opponent after another to refine himself, to defeat his arch-rival in one fell swoop and become the saint child of Flying Spirit Martial Academy. However, he returned too late, which gave Lu Yun a chance. That's what he believed. And seeing Lu Yun's dominant aura, he was even transforming into the aura of a flood dragon. This shocked and made Qin Wuming jealous. If he was the Martial Academy's saint child, then he could also suddenly condense such a strong dominant aura. With the support of the dominant aura, his ability to defeat higher-level opponents would greatly enhance. He even had confidence that if he met that demon again, he could regain his confidence and pride. Thinking of this, his eyes became fiery, and a great sword intent suddenly erupted, shooting straight into the sky. Lu Yun, let's make an agreement today in front of the many brothers and elders of the Martial Academy. Shall we? With the sword Qi soaring into the sky and the sword levitating in the air, Qin Wuming stared at Lu Yun fiercely and spoke calmly. Oh. Lu Yun frowned slightly. What agreement? Upon hearing this, the many elders and Martial Academy disciples also became alert. Very simple. Qin Winning's calm voice rang out, thunderous. In this battle, if you win, I will give up the position of Saint Child. Otherwise, you will willingly give up the position of Saint Child. Give up the position of Saint Child. Lu Yun glanced at him and laughed. You're not saying to give it to you, are you? Of course, the position of Saint Child should be occupied by the powerful. Ha! Lu Yun laughed immediately. You're right, the position of Saint Child should indeed be occupied by the powerful. Does that mean you agree? Qin Wuming stared intently at Lu Yun. The elders and Martial Academy disciples heard this and frowned slightly. The Martial Academy's Saint Child, a position chosen by the dean and many elders, how could it be privately transferred due to a duel? Junior brother Qin, be careful with your words. A sudden thunderclap in the sky startled everyone, golden lightning flashing. Lei Keng came out from the lights, staring at Qin Wuming sternly. Senior brother Lei, don't stop me. I must get the position of Saint Child. Qin Wuming ignored him. Even Lei Keng's intervention didn't matter. Lu Yun becoming the Saint Child is the joint decision of the master and the many elders. Dare you defy it? Moreover, you have been training for so many years compared to how many years the Saint Child has been training. Qin Wuming's words made his face red, but giving up was out of the question. The position of Saint Child is indeed for the strong. If I lose to Lu Yun, I will admit it wholeheartedly. If I am a higher level than him, why can't I be the Saint Child? If one day Lu Yun can beat me, what's the harm in giving the position of Saint Child back to him? After speaking, he ignored Lei Keng, looked at Lu Yun, and his gaze looked sharp as a sword. Junior brother Lu, dare you accept my challenge? The elders and disciples didn't expect Qin Wuming to be so stubborn. Not listening to even Lei Keng's words, they could only look at Lu Yun next and see what he would decide. With a punch that defeated Gongliang Jin, one of the twin blade men, they felt that Lu Yun's strength might be no less than Qin Wuming's. Chapter 300, Chapter 300, Chapter 183, No More Twin Blade Men, Only the Saint Child Reigns Supreme _2, Chapter 300, Chapter 183, No More Twin Blade Men, Only the Saint Child Reigns Supreme _2B0 Nvel. C0M, however, after not seeing each other for several years, no one knew what Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin's true strength was. Lu Yun could defeat Gongliang Jin with one punch, but it did not necessarily mean he could also defeat Qin Wuming. Under everyone's watchful eyes, a cold smile appeared at the corner of Lu Yun's mouth as he slowly spoke. Whether I accept or not is one thing, but since you provoked this Saint Child today, you must be punished. With these words, Lu Yun's right hand emerged from his purple mystic robe, and with a slight point of his index finger, a golden beam shot out from the sky like a pillar falling from the heavens, stirring up the wind and clouds, and shooting towards Qin Wuming with extreme speed. Humph, I am not Gongliang Jin. Qin Wuming snorted coldly, releasing a terrifying sword intent, slashing out with a powerful sword, intending to teach the disregarding Lu Yun a lesson. However, in the next moment, Qin Winning's complexion changed drastically. His strongest sword barely touched the golden giant finger before it shattered. Looking again, the golden giant finger, sometimes transformed into a soaring flood dragon, sometimes into a golden ferocious tiger, and sometimes into a soaring golden giant bird, changing endlessly. When it finally collided with Qin Wuming, it was like a raging torrent. With a crack, his profound sword broke, and a terrifying gash appeared on Qin Wuming's left shoulder. The overwhelming residual power instantly shattered his gold body. Qin Wuming, who had been sent flying, spat out a mouthful of golden blood. Another red sun fist descended from the sky, its dazzling golden afterglow like a giant fist from the great sun itself, ruthlessly landing on Qin Wuming's abdomen. Bang! Atop a mountain peak, billowing smoke and dust surged as if a heavy mountain had collapsed, crushing the vast earth. When the smoke and dust cleared, half of the huge mountain had collapsed, and within it was a barely alive, bloody figure. Oh my God, he had no resistance at all. How could Saint Child be so powerful that even Senior Brother Qin had no power to fight back? But Senior Brother Qin won't be killed by Saint Child, right? Looking at the collapsed mountain, everyone shuddered. Gongliang Jin and Qin Wuming, one unable to fight again, and the other in a bloody, indiscernible state, their life or death unknown. And Lu Yun, like a slowly rising sun, shone brilliantly, overshadowing everything. At some unknown time, an old Yuan fluid realm disciple sighed slowly. From now on, there will be no twin blade men in the martial academy, only the supremely esteemed Saint Child. With this statement, a commotion arose. But upon careful recollection of what had just transpired, it seemed indeed to be the case. Lu Yun stepped into the air, looking down with an aloof gaze from above the collapsed peak. It seems your strength is not enough to serve as a Saint Child. With dragon-like power, ferocious golden tigers coiled around his purple mystic robe, perfectly illustrating the concept of an invincible posture. Cough, cough. The severely injured Qin Wuming slowly rose from the deep pit, staring at Lu Yun with shock and fear in his eyes. After a long silence, he slowly exhaled a breath of air. Then, under everyone's gaze, he slightly clasped his fist. Qin Wuming thanks Saint Child for sparing my life. Whether it was the finger earlier or the last punch, he felt a huge crisis, as if he would be killed with one careless move. Especially in the final punch, he had been so severely injured that he had no room to fight back at all. If it weren't for Lu Yun's mercy, his fate would have been even worse than the collapsed mountain behind him. Seeing the other party's sincere attitude, Lu Yun finally nodded slightly. Then he turned his gaze to those veteran Yuan Fluid Realm disciples. Among you, if anyone still has thoughts of the Saint Child's position or wants to challenge me, please seize the opportunity now, because you will have no chance in the future. After a moment, 2, even a dozen moments, no one dared to speak up. They looked at each other in silence, not even daring to meet Lu Yun's gaze. Challenge the Saint Child? What a joke! Didn't they see the 15th-ranked Gongliang Jin and the 9th-ranked Qin Wuming from the myriad phenomena Jade Wall utterly defeated, without any resistance? Was Gongliang Jin very weak? Or was Qin Wuming very weak? Not weak. The strength of these two was enough to rank them among the top, even among the many elders. But even so, they couldn't even use their ultimate moves in front of Lu Yun. They haven't even reached the Golden Body Realm. Going up against him would be suicide. Qin Wuming and Gongliang Jin looked at the increasingly invincible Lu Yun, their gazes growing more and more complicated. It seemed that the dean and the numerous elders had not only ranked him as a disciple of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy because of his strong talent. For the first time, they felt a strong sense of frustration in their hearts, especially Qin Wuming, who hadn't felt such a strong sense of frustration even when defeated by the peerless Heavenly Pride in Yu Province. That opponent was strong because he came from the Central Province, where the martial arts surpassed Ling Province in a martial arts holy land. Moreover, he did not need to be younger than himself, and his cultivation was not inferior. Lu Yun had been in the martial academy for just over 3 years and was only in the origin fluid realm, almost an entire realm lower than him. But in the end, he was defeated utterly. Such monstrous talent, coupled with such a perverted combat power, made him deeply fearful of Lu Yun. He had never felt this kind of fear, even when facing invincible demon beasts. Lu Yun didn't know about Qin Wuming's psychological struggle at this time. He just glanced at those senior disciples, and when he saw that none of them were standing up, He finally nodded with satisfaction. I'm very busy, and I don't have time to waste with you here. Having said that, he bowed slightly to Lei Kang in the distance, and with a flash of lightning under his feet, he transformed into a purple light and quickly disappeared from everyone's sight. Lu Yun left, but the shock and awe he left behind remained. After a long time, the Martial Academy disciples were still looking at each other silently, not daring to come out, and some didn't even know that Lu Yun had left. All right, go back and practice on your own. Lei Kang's deep voice boomed, finally bringing everyone back to their senses. On the other side, after leaving the Thousand Extremes cliff, Lu Yun headed straight for the book collection pavilion. I didn't expect that after my cultivation breakthrough to the late origin fluid realm, my strength would increase so much. It seems I've underestimated the power of a 210-meter essence sea, Lu Yun thought to himself. His pure physical strength was probably not more than 1 million kilograms, but under the blessing of the pure yang strong origin, it easily exceeded 3 million, which was truly terrifying. In addition, the power of the formless tribulation finger had increased significantly after his breakthrough, even able to break Qin Wuming's profound sword. Lu Yun was even curious about how powerful he would be if he were to go all out. However, compared to Gongliang Jin and the others, my martial arts conception is somewhat weaker. Thinking of this, Lu Yun decided to use his energy points to improve his slaughter conception and thunder. Chapter 301, Chapter 301, Chapter 184. Fourth floor of the book collection pavilion. Great Sun, Undying Golden Body Manual. Chapter 301, Chapter 184. Fourth floor of the book collection pavilion. Great Sun, Undying Golden Body Manual B0 Zinvel. See 0M Flying Spirit Martial Academy Book Collection Pavilion. Now that Lu Yun has become the Saint Child, he has unrestricted access to the Book Collection Pavilion. Lu Yun added the illusionary dance, bewildering wind step to his panel. This was the second movement-related martial arts cultivation technique he had found in the third level of the Book Collection Pavilion. However, compared to 3000 Thunder Movement, this technique was far inferior. After all, the 3000 Thunder Movement was integrated with energy. The integration of third-level techniques consumes little energy. I should pick up more. Lu Yun stroked his chin. After all, he temporarily lacked energy. Coupled with the significant breakthrough in his cultivation base, enhancing his speed and flexibility would benefit his full potential. After a long time, Lu Yun found another movement technique. Although there were many techniques in the book collection pavilion, they were of various kinds. Movement-related techniques, especially those related to the Wind Thunder Manual, were scarce. It seems I have to go to the fourth floor. Lu Yun has always been fascinated by mysteries. Finally, he could fulfill his desire today, and was delighted. However, he didn't know how to go to the fourth floor, and needed to find the elder of the book collection pavilion. As Lu Yun's strength increased, he could faintly sense the power of the elder guarding the book collection pavilion. It was beyond the peak of the Golden Body realm, but had not yet reached the Rune Seed realm. Elder Luo, I want to go to the fourth floor. The elder guarding the book collection pavilion was named Luo, but Lu Yun didn't know his full name. The fourth floor. Elder Luo glanced at Lu Yun with raised eyebrows and said, Saint Child, if I'm not mistaken, you are only in the origin fluid realm now, right? Yes, is there a problem? No, it's just that given your current realm, I'm afraid you won't gain anything even if you enter the fourth floor, the elder of the book collection pavilion said in a deep voice. Lu Yun frowned slightly after hearing this. Is there something special about the fourth floor? Seeing Lu Yun's puzzled expression, the elder guarding the book collection pavilion laughed. If the Saint Child insists on going to the fourth floor, I will show you the way. He had been guarding the book collection pavilion for a long time and rarely went out, but he had heard of Lu Yun's reputation. Lu Yun was a monstrous talent and wielded terrifying battle power. Perhaps the fourth floor of the book collection pavilion would be rewarding for him. Okay, please lead the way. Elder Luo. Lu Yun stepped aside to make a way for him. Following the elder of the book collection pavilion, they climbed the third floor, bypassed the jade walls of inheritance, and finally found a staircase. The staircase led to another space that seemed to be pitch black and mysterious. The first thing they saw were 4 bronze stone doors. The fourth floor of the book collection pavilion is the foundation of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy and is extremely important. Those who enter without the guidance of me or the dean will only end up dead, Elder Luo warned. Hearing this, Lu Yun instantly shuddered, feeling glad that he had called for the elder, or else he would not have dared to imagine the consequences. In reality, ordinary people might not be able to find the staircase to the fourth floor. Lu Yun had merely frightened himself. If Lu Yun hadn't followed the elder of the book collection pavilion earlier, he wouldn't have found the staircase, even if he had looked for 2 or 3 days. When they arrived at the second stone door, Elder Luo took out a token. A golden light emanated from it and landed on the bronze stone door. Click, the bronze stone door slowly opened. This scene piqued Lu Yun's curiosity. Your Saint Child token can also break the sword prohibition on the bronze stone door. Suspecting that Lu Yun was curious, the elder of the book collection pavilion explained. Lu Yun entered the stone door and once again saw 4 identical bronze stone doors, his eyes narrowing slightly. Each bronze stone door leads to 4 different bronze stone doors. Saint Child, your Saint Child token can also break the prohibition on the bronze stone doors. After mentioning this, the elder added, however, there are many bronze stone doors. If you accidentally make a mistake, it will be irreversible, so please be sure to remember the route. Good grief. Lu Yun became even more curious about the martial arts techniques on the fourth floor, which required so many obstacles. Following Elder Luo, Lu Yun passed through one bronze stone door after another, committing the entire route to memory. As his cultivation base and spiritual power increased, so did his photographic memory. It wasn't a problem to remember these routes, and they would be remembered for a long time. They finally arrived at a spacious hall after passing through 9 bronze stone doors. Upon entering this hall, Lu Yun was dumbfounded. It was not so much a hall as it was a dark, empty space. There were no jade walls of inheritance here. Looking around, he only saw a bronze pillar standing in the center. This pillar is not simple, Lu Yun thought suddenly, not to mention the dangers from the 3rd floor to here. Just the mysterious aura emanating from the bronze pillar alone was enough to completely draw Lu Yun's attention. The elder of the book collection pavilion pointed to the bronze pillar in the center of the hall and said, "This is the divine martial enlightenment pillar, created by the first-generation primordial emperor when he spread martial arts throughout the Morrijin. There are only 365 of these pillars in the entire Morrijin, and our Flying Spirit Martial Academy is fortunate to have one thanks to the dean's efforts." He paused here, not continuing, but Lu Yun could clearly see a hint of regret in his eyes. The divine martial enlightenment pillar contains numerous martial arts techniques, but there is only one opportunity to comprehend them every year. The Saint Child is fortunate to have one opportunity this year. Lu Yun's heart tightened upon hearing these words. Do I lose my opportunity to comprehend just once? And that's it? It's a rare opportunity. Saint Child, cherish it well. An elder from the book collection pavilion couldn't help but remind. Had it not been for considering Lu Yun as the Martial Academy's Saint Child, he would never have brought him here. The divine martial enlightenment pillar allows only one comprehension opportunity per year, which is extremely rare for the many golden body realm elders. Even more, for the sake of obtaining such an opportunity, The price paid by those golden body realm elders is far from small. Lu Yun knew nothing about these. He nodded and walked toward the bronze stone pillar. There were patterns and dark cracks on the stone pillar, but Lu Yun couldn't see anything clearly, only feel a mysterious aura emanating from it. Taking a deep breath, his face became more composed, and Lu Yun stepped forward directly to the bronze stone pillar. It was at this time that the mysterious light from the bronze stone pillar completely enveloped Lu Yun. In the vision of the book collection Pavilion Elder, Lu Yun stood frozen in place like a daydreamer. According to rumors, there is an extremely powerful martial arts technique inside the divine martial enlightenment pillar. If Saint Child can comprehend it, with this thought, a wisp of brightness flashed through the elder's aged pupils. As the brilliance shone, instantly dispelling the darkness, Lu Yun seemed to have arrived in a different space. This was a vast space with an endless starry river in the distance, and above was a hanging painting in the sky. The painting emitted an endless, mysterious light, enveloping the area. Lu Yun's attention was immediately drawn to the painting, Divine Martial Enlightenment painting. A mysterious voice appeared in Lu Yun's mind, seemingly appearing out of nowhere. However, when Lu Yun's gaze fell upon the painting, he couldn't see anything clearly, only a vague image. It was as if the painting hanging in the sky was veiled in mist. Lu Yun sat down cross-legged, concentrating fully, and his eyes blazed with an unusual glow as he looked at the painting once more. At this moment, Lu Yun felt the mist in the painting begin to stir, as if being slowly separated by a massive force, revealing the mysteries within. An aura of mysterious profundity, accompanied by the scattering of the mysterious light, fell upon Lu Yun. Immediately, he experienced a sensation of dizziness, feeling as if his spirit was being absorbed, and his body was enveloped in a strong weightlessness, as if thrown and spun in midair by a great force. It felt like only a moment had passed, or perhaps a very long time. The sensation of dizziness and spinning slowly faded, and Lu Yun's spirit finally returned to him. Just as his eyes refocused on the painting, he suddenly saw a golden light sphere flying out from the painting, accompanied by the mysterious light. What is that? Seeing the golden light sphere intertwined with the mysterious light, Lu Yun pondered. At this moment, Lu Yun's pupils suddenly contracted. Something's not right. That golden light sphere seems to be coming in my direction. The speed of the golden light sphere increased rapidly, exceeding Lu Yun's understanding. With such extreme speed, even a gust of wind created by it would be immeasurable in power. Although he was confident in his body, he did not know what would happen if he were to be hit by this light sphere. When he wanted to dodge, the golden light scattered by the sphere enveloped his body, completely restraining him and not allowing him to dodge at all. Lu Yun could only watch as the golden light sphere approached rapidly and then touched his forehead. There was no pain as imagined, only a cool sensation, as if gently touched by something soft. The next instant, Lu Yun felt dizzy, and there was a surge in his sea of consciousness. It seems to have entered my sea of consciousness. The sea of consciousness is one of the most secretive and important places for a martial artist. An unknown entity entering it caused Lu Yun to worry. He immediately focused his mind, his consciousness appearing in the sea of consciousness. Due to his breakthrough, the use of energy points to enhance his techniques, and accepting memories, his sea of consciousness space had expanded countless times compared to before. Here, Lu Yun quickly found the golden light sphere. To his surprise, the golden light sphere seemed to be well-behaved and didn't cause havoc, which undoubtedly relieved Lu Yun. What is this? As Lu Yun slowly approached, the golden light emitted by the sphere completely enveloped him, and the surrounding gray mist seemed to take on a golden hue. The golden light ball came out of the divine martial enlightenment painting, which is in the bronze stone pillar. Lu Yun's thoughts turned rapidly, and soon a guess formed in his heart. Could this golden light ball be the martial arts technique that can only be obtained by comprehending the divine martial enlightenment painting? But I haven't even started to comprehend it. Why did it fly towards me? Plus, could it be that it saw my uniqueness and took the initiative to join me? Lu Yun approached the ball of light, reached out with his right hand, and grabbed it. Buzz! Almost at the same instant, the golden light sphere merged into the body formed by Lu Yun's consciousness. Great Sun Undying Golden Body Manual. After fully absorbing and digesting the information from the golden light sphere, Lu Yun slowly opened his eyes, the pupils of which radiated an inconceivable expression. Chapter 302. Chapter 302. Chapter 185:1. I'm shocked because I saw it. Chapter 302. Chapter 185:1. I'm shocked because I saw it be Zero's Nvel. See 0M as his consciousness left the sea of consciousness space. Lu Yun's gaze once again fell upon the scroll hanging in the sky. Arcane light, flowing, interwoven mysterious aura. The scroll that was originally shrouded in mist now revealed its true nature. It seemed like only an instant had passed, yet also like many years had gone by. The scroll slowly descended, eventually hanging in the air not far from Lu Yun, allowing him to see the patterns on it clearly. It was a figure standing on the peak of a mountain range, limitless in spirit and unparalleled in divine might. Lu Yun widened his eyes, the world in the scroll expanding infinitely, and the figure constantly enlarging, becoming clearer. It felt as if Lu Yun was being drawn into the world within the painting, where the clouds in the sky, the mountains underfoot, and the distant mountain range all felt as real as life, especially the figure standing on the peak of the mountains, towering on high. He seemed to be covered with a thin layer of translucent veil, surrounded by hazy fog. His back faced Lu Yun, exuding an extremely mysterious feeling. At this moment, a sudden gust of wind picked up, and from far away within the mountain range, a heavy fog swirled, a pair of ghostly eyes sweeping across a lake, staring in this direction. It seemed to have noticed the mysterious figure on the mountain peak, or discovered something else. With a silvery beak the size of a crescent moon, it let out a soft whistle and flew over, its massive body passing like dark clouds. Human race, a delicious meal. A dull voice came from the beak of the ferocious bird, its ghostly eyes filled with malicious energy. Watching the approaching ferocious bird from afar, Lu Yun felt a strong sense of shock. With the flapping of its wings, mountains crumbled, the earth cracked, and he had never seen such a massive body and terrifying strength before. Compared to this ferocious bird, the fifth-rank demon beasts, and even the peak of the sixth-rank demon beasts he had seen before were nothing but ants. Humans, such a lovable yet hateful race. The ferocious bird growled, its green eyes filled with killing intent, releasing a thick lightning bolt as wide as a heavenly pillar, aimed at the location of the mysterious figure. No, it was aimed at the foot of the mountain where the mysterious figure was. Lu Yun's pupils constricted as he suddenly realized that there was a tribe there, a human tribe. Far separated by thousands of miles, he shouldn't have been able to see clearly with his vision alone. But at this moment, everything was extremely clear. In the tribe, everyone was fierce, their blood and chi boundless, and even the children could carry fierce tigers on their shoulders. However, at this very moment, the thick lightning bolt crashed down, causing mountains to collapse, the earth to crumble, and clouds of dust to rise. The place where the tribe was located was blown into a deep pit with a scorched, blackened surface. You dare invade the human tribe. Aren't you afraid of being killed by our human experts? The strongest person in the tribe angrily questioned. Hee, who can kill me? The ferocious bird with massive green eyes roared, causing the mountains to tremble and the earth to shake with a single howl, scattering the dark clouds in the sky. Then, spreading its wings, it swooped down, its colossal physique covering the entire sky, as black fog enveloped everything. Though far away, Lu Yun could hear the terrible screams within the black fog and could only imagine the horrifying scene. Utterly defenseless, it was nothing short of naked slaughter. Ha ha, human flesh and blood really are delicious. The ferocious bird laughed, flapping its wings and instantly flying over the boundless land. The landscape seemed to draw closer rapidly, and Lu Yun's sight followed the ferocious bird's body, only to see it arrive at an even larger tribe in the blink of an eye. This was an enormous tribe with tens of millions of people, various bustling cities, and a dense population. Roar! The ferocious bird opened its silvery beak, and a terrifying dark light burst out, enveloping a region tens of thousands of miles wide. Unprepared, a prosperous city densely populated by humans was struck with catastrophe. The terrifying power, like a raging torrent and a mighty wave surging to the sky, caused all the humans within the area covered by the dark light to be uncontrollably swept into the air and fall into the ferocious bird's massive beak. This horrifying scene completely stunned Lu Yun. Swallowing hundreds of thousands of humans in one gulp, how could anyone in Morijin resist such a powerful demon beast? Furthermore, these humans were incredibly powerful. Even children were capable of tearing apart fierce tigers. But such a powerful human tribe was powerless to resist the ferocious bird, which was completely baffling. Lu Yun couldn't help but wonder just how terrifying this ferocious bird's strength truly was. How could it be? The legendary demonic beast, Nine-Nether Thunderbird. Heavens! How could such a creature appear in our Great Wind Tribe? In the Great Wind Tribe, both old and young women cried out, turning into nothingness within the dark light, while the middle-aged men barely managed to resist, but it didn't take long for them to struggle. The difference between them was too vast. Resistance was futile. Their bodies exploded into pieces, turning into flesh and blood that was consumed by the ferocious bird. This was a terrifying scene, with the massive ferocious bird covering the sky, its enormous body casting a shadow on everything, its entire being wrapped in black demon energy, and the dark light it spat out enveloping tens of thousands of miles of land. Millions of humans were helplessly consumed. Witnessing this, Lu Yun's eyes turned red, his fists clenched, his nails piercing deep into the flesh of his palms, but he couldn't feel any pain. The pain of the body was nothing compared to the pain of the heart. Uffed, splat! Once all the flesh and blood of these humans was swallowed, the Nine-Nether Thunderbird became invigorated. The black fog surrounding it grew even thicker, and its enormous, ghostly green eyes expressed satisfaction. Truly worthy of being the spiritual creature of the world, just over 1 million human blood spirits can make my strength increase by half. At this moment, a surprise attack came, accompanied by an onslaught of golden light, which seemed to envelope the sky, aiming to shoot and kill this cruel and hateful ferocious bird. Unfortunately, the Nine-Nether Thunderbird was too powerful, and with a spread of its wings, it blocked the attack. The giant eyes of the Nine-Nether Thunderbird swept across, landing on the human figure holding a giant golden bow, and a hint of disdain flashed in its eyes. Great human archer? A pity that you're just too weak. Immediately after, it spat out a mountain-like thunderbolt, attacking the approaching great human archer. Even the incredibly powerful great human archer in Lu Yun's eyes was instantly destroyed. What kind of powerhouse could possibly stop this ferocious bird? Lu Yun watched helplessly, unable to do anything. At this moment, Lu Yun suddenly noticed that the mysterious figure standing on the mountain peak seemed to have trembled slightly. He wasn't sure if it was an illusion, so he blinked and took another look. It was true. The mysterious figure had moved. No, the gray mist enveloping him began to flow like a stream of water. It started sluggishly, then gradually accelerated. With a hiss, All the mist was absorbed and refined. In an instant, his aura surged uncontrollably. Boom! Tribulation clouds gathered in the sky. Thunder rolled and rumbled. Is this thunder tribulation? Lu Yun looked up at the dark and rolling clouds overhead, frowning. That peerless monster bird was massacring the human race while this mysterious person was undergoing tribulation. What was going on? As Lu Yun watched anxiously, the thunder tribulation in the sky finally turned into lightning torrents descending upon him. Such terrifying tribulation power was truly horrifying. Just one bolt of thunder was enough to easily shatter mountains. The mysterious figure stood in midair, surrounded by golden light, his black hair flowing like ink, shimmering with the luster of gold, dancing in the wind. Countless torrents of thunder descended, as if the end of the world had arrived. But the mysterious person raised one hand, as if to prop up the heavens. Innumerable torrents of thunder struck directly into his palm. The mysterious person's body trembled, numerous bolts of lightning coursing into his flesh. In the blink of an eye, a boundless golden energy surged within him, and a golden sun illusion emerged behind him. Carrying a heaven-shaking divinity, the golden sun fiercely absorbed all the rolling thunder, pouring it all into the mysterious person's body. Endless thunder, forge my great sun, undying golden body. Under the world-ending thunder, the mysterious person was not only unafraid, but used it as a means to temper his great sun, undying golden body. This scene completely astonished Lu Yun. He had also borrowed thunder to enhance his thunder conception before, but the two experiences were incomparable. Each bolt of thunder here was powerful enough to easily crush countless mountain ranges, and the mysterious person absorbed all the thunder. Lu Yun wondered whether the mysterious person was powerful or if the great sun golden body was simply absurd. Lu Yun thought to himself, refine them all. The mysterious person grasped at the sky as if seizing all the thunder above. The great sun behind him trembled slightly, absorbing the terrifying thunder like a waterfall in reverse. Lu Yun noticed that as the thunder was absorbed, the mysterious person's body underwent a transformation. On his exposed abdomen, 16 golden, shimmering abdominal muscles appeared. In the blood-red light on his chest, golden blood flowed like a torrential river, with the surrounding aura swirling around him like a golden dragon. The great sun illusion behind him became more solid and imposing, exuding even greater divinity. The human race shall not be oppressed. The human race shall not be humiliated. The human race shall empower itself. These three phrases rang out in succession. The first phrase was like a soft murmur in his ear, barely audible to Lu Yun. The second was extremely loud and resonant, making his eardrums ache. By the time the third phrase came, it was like a rallying cry, an ancient, profound stone, thunderclaps echoing through the heavens and shaking the earth. From his ears to his soul, it reverberated endlessly. The human race shall not be oppressed. The human race shall not be humiliated. The human race shall empower itself. Lu Yun repeated these three phrases, filled with astonishment. Is he saying this to me? Yes, it must be. Lu Yun's heart was a storm of tumultuous emotions. He was acutely aware that all of this was happening within the painting and did not truly exist, whether it was the human tribe, the overwhelmingly powerful monster bird, or the mysterious figure who created the great sun golden body. They were all part of the divine martial enlightenment painting's illusion. However, the voice reverberating within his heart and deepest consciousness told him that it was real. At least, the mysterious person was real, able to sense his arrival. The human race shall not be oppressed. This time, the voice came from afar. The mysterious person appeared in the sky, carrying the great sun, and with a single stomp, the heavens collapsed and countless mountains crumbled. the enormous monster bird, was firmly crushed beneath his foot. The human race shall not be humiliated. Another deep and muffled voice rang out, shaking the universe. The echoing sounds filled the world, deafeningly loud. Bathed in golden light, the mysterious person grabbed the immense, shadowing wings of the monster bird and tore them off its body. Roar! The nine-nether thunderbird let out a mournful scream, its monster blood containing a massive amount of energy splattering across countless mountains, smashing through them. The human race shall empower itself. The mysterious person roared, and in an instant, the resplendent great sun behind him began to grow rapidly. The radiant golden light illuminated hundreds of thousands of miles, and the scorching temperature burned the entire sky. Those who oppress and humiliate my human race shall die. Boom! The golden sun came crashing down, its boundless radiance and terrifying might falling on the nine-nether thunderbird beneath his feet. In the end, all Lu Yun could hear was an ultimate wail, followed by a terrifying shockwave that blasted everything away. The drifting clouds in the sky, the mountains underfoot, the endless mountain ranges, the world-devouring monster bird wreathed in demon energy, and the enigmatic, powerful figure. Everything vanished before his eyes, and the only thing left was that unrelenting vow reverberating in his mind. The human race shall empower itself. Chapter 303, Chapter 303, Chapter 186. Instant Horizon, Spatial Conception. Chapter 303, Chapter 186. Instant Horizon, Spatial Conception be Zero's Nvel. See 0M. His mind returned to his body, and his gaze looked again at the divine martial enlightenment painting suspended in midair. At this point, the mysterious Xian light and mysterious aura emitted from it slowly faded and then began to disappear. Immediately after, the divine martial enlightenment painting suddenly shattered and turned into strands of starlight disappearing into the starry sky. This sudden scene immediately shocked Lu Yun. However, before he could react, the Star River space began to collapse, and his body paused. When he came back to his senses, there was only a bronze stone pillar in front of him. Finally out. When Elder Luo saw Lu Yun's body trembling for a moment, a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. 12 hours. Lu Yun had comprehended the divine martial enlightenment pillar for a full 12 hours, the longest time anyone had comprehended the enlightenment pillar so far. Before this, the longest time spent comprehending the divine martial enlightenment pillar was 6 hours, created by a heavenly pride 100 years ago from the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. But now, Lu Yun had doubled that time limit. The longer the comprehension time, the greater the harvest, especially for someone with monstrous innate talent like Lu Yun. Elder Luo's body trembled with excitement, and his turbid eyes sparkled as he stared at Lu Yun intently. However, as Lu Yun's current state was quite peculiar, as if he was realizing or recalling something, Elder Luo didn't dare to interrupt and waited quietly. Before long, the confusion in Lu Yun's eyes disappeared, as if he had completely recovered. Lu Yun, how were your gains? Elder Luo saw Lu Yun coming over with a full smile on his face. Not bad. Lu Yun nodded, not knowing how to answer Elder Luo for a moment. Was he going to tell him that he hadn't comprehended anything, and the inheritance just ran into his sea of consciousness on its own, and he got to watch a peerless battle for free? Moreover, when he came out, he had seen the divine martial enlightenment painting shatter with his own eyes. It was uncertain whether this would affect later people who came to comprehend it. Thinking about this, he looked back at the bronze stone pillar once more. However, unlike before, the mysterious patterns on the bronze stone pillar were still enigmatic, but the Xian light they emitted had become somewhat weak, no longer giving people the instant amazing and lost feeling they had previously. To verify his thoughts, Lu Yun looked at Elder Luo and asked, "Elder Luo, do you see any differences between this bronze stone pillar and before? Elder Luo heard the words and looked carefully for a moment before shaking his head, slightly. This divine martial enlightenment pillar has been here for hundreds of years and has never changed. Have you noticed any differences? Oh, no. Lu Yun certainly wouldn't admit it. After leaving the fourth floor, Lu Yun asked, Elder Luo, can you tell me more secrets about the divine martial enlightenment pillar? Actually, it's not really a secret. Elder Luo smiled and nodded. There are a total of 365 divine martial enlightenment pillars created by the first-generation primordial emperor, who then personally left behind martial arts inheritance. Each divine martial enlightenment pillar contains numerous cultivation techniques and martial arts methods, encompassing everything. As long as one can comprehend a martial arts method or technique, they have the opportunity to advance to the rune seed realm. Finally, he paused for a moment and said mysteriously, it is rumored that the greatest secret of the divine martial enlightenment pillar is that it hides a martial arts method for forging a holy body. A martial arts method for forging a holy body? Lu Yun's eyes burst with brilliant light upon hearing this. This rumor came from the prosperous martial arts places, like Central Province and Wu Province. They had those monstrous geniuses who had comprehended the method of forging a holy body, but never appeared in the Morijin. Elder Luo looked back at Lu Yun and smiled. If our saint child can comprehend the hidden holy body method, then the rise of our flying spirit martial academy can be expected. Is that holy body method really that powerful? Elder Luo smiled slightly. At that time, the first-generation primordial emperor had 9 disciples, and all 9 were heavenly prides who practiced the holy body method. I've never heard of this before, and the book collection pavilion doesn't have any records either. Lu Yun tried to dig for more information indirectly. Some things, of course, can't be recorded and can only be passed down by word of mouth. Especially after the primordial emperor mysteriously disappeared hundreds of years ago, his 9 disciples vanished from the Morijin altogether, and all traces of them were erased overnight. Some powerful beings speculated that the primordial emperor led his disciples across the endless great wilderness to a more prosperous martial arts realm. Hearing this, Lu Yun suddenly recalled a book he had accidentally seen before. It mentioned that during the era when the 9 provinces were under the rule of the 100 sects, the primordial emperor suddenly appeared and overthrew the rule of the 100 sects while driving the demon beasts out of the 9 provinces. So, how did the primordial emperor appear? He was definitely not from the 100 sects, nor from any aristocratic family in the 9 provinces. With the terrifying power to topple the rule of the 100 sects and expel the demon beasts, such a person appeared without making a sound, as if falling from the mountain, which couldn't help but be thought-provoking. Perhaps what I saw in the scroll really existed and was deliberately left behind in the inheritance by the primordial emperor. Lu Yun didn't know if he was right, nor did he want to tell Elder Luo or anyone else about it. Only heaven knew what kind of storm this secret would cause if it ever got out. Lu Yun couldn't imagine the consequences. For now, it was best to focus on the present and wait for the right opportunity to verify it. After all, it was still a matter of strength. Although he was now one of the top powerhouses in Spirit Martial Prefecture, there were still many, many people stronger than him throughout Ling Province and the entire Morijin. After leaving the book collection pavilion, Lu Yun returned to the Pill Medicine Building. He was the master of the Pill Medicine Building, and it was his private place. Master, these are the spirit herbs we've collected recently. As soon as he saw Lu Yun, Huang Qi happily greeted him, deliberately adding respect to his voice. Before, he respected Lu Yun because of his Martial Academy's Saint Child and Pill Medicine Building master status. Now, he respected Lu Yun's strength even more. This respect came from his heart. All right, They'll find some time to refine them into pills. Lu Yun smiled, nodded, collected all the spirit herbs, and walked straight to the upper floor. Pill Medicine Building, 5th floor. Cultivation Room. Lu Yun sat cross-legged on a cushion. Name: Lu Yun Faction, Flying Spirit Martial Academy, Cultivation Techniques, Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon, Original Liquid Chapter, 1% Great Accomplishment, Astonishing Wind Saber Manual, 5th layer, Annihilation 100%, Life Destruction Saber Techniques, 1st layer, One Strike Ensigns 100%, Wind Thunder Manual, 2nd layer, 3000 Thunder Movement, 100%, Fifth Scripture, 1st layer, Red Sun Breaks the Sky 10%, Finger Scripture, 1st layer, Formless Tribulation Finger 100%, Illusionary Dance Bewitching Wind Step Pre-Entry, Cloud Trail Charming Shadow Pre-Entry, Astonishing Pre-Entry, Physical Body, Great Sun Gold Body Pre-Entry, Innate Talent, Level 8, Martial Arts, Late Stage Origin Fluid Realm, Energy Value, 123,000, automatically increases by 8 every day. Conception, Slaughter Conception, 3rd rank 35%. Thunder Conception, 2nd rank 27%. Skills, Level 6 Alchemy Technique, 1%. Talent, White Lotus Flame, 4th rank 1%. Luck Value, 46, Martial Academy's Saint Child. Increase by 1 every day. It took nearly 30,000 energy points to raise the Pure Yang Martial Canon Original Liquid Chapter to Great Accomplishment. It wasn't as much as he had imagined, but to raise it to perfection, or even to reach profound, the energy needed would increase even more. Even though he had over 100,000 energy points on his panel, Lu Yun still needed to be careful about how he used it. Lu Yun's attention was focused on the newly appearing physical body option on the panel. It was the Great Sun Gold Body, which had been automatically added to the panel after fusing with his consciousness in the Sea of Consciousness. Great Sun Golden Body, one of the 365 holy bodies of the human race, created by the Great Sun Divine Monarch. Seeing the information on the panel, Lu Yun's pupils contracted, as if he had discovered a new land, trembling with excitement. 365 holy bodies of the human race and Great Sun Divine Monarch contain too much information. For example, in addition to the Great Sun Gold Body, there were over 300 other holy bodies. But there had never been any such rumors in Morijin. Furthermore, the identity of the Great Sun Divine Monarch, who created such a holy body, must be very famous, but there were no records of the Great Sun Divine Monarch in all the archives of Morijin. Even no one had heard of the Great Sun Divine Monarch nickname, and the knowledge of holy bodies was limited to rumors. From this, Lu Yun could deduce that the 12 provinces of Morijin may just be one small branch of the human race. If this speculation were to be spread, it would set off an incredible uproar, because in everyone's hearts, the human race is Morijin, and Morijin is the human race. But the information about the 365 holy bodies of the human race and Great Sun Divine Monarch is a complete revelation to everyone's understanding. Looking at it this way, the disappearance of the primordial emperor and his 9 disciples may not be so simple. This world isn't as simple as I thought. All the secrets may be hidden on the other side of the endless great wilderness. Thinking of this, Lu Yun became even more interested in entering the great wilderness. However, the premise of it all was that he had to become stronger, much stronger. Otherwise, even a 7th rank demon beast could easily take his life. Moreover, if what he saw in the divine martial enlightenment painting was true, then the world outside was even more dangerous. He gathered his thoughts. Upgrade. Consumes 500 energy points. Illusionary Dance Bewitching Wind Step upgraded to 1st layer. 1%. Consumes 450 energy points. Cloud Trail Charming Shadow upgraded to 1st layer. 1%. consumes 600 energy points. Astonishing upgraded to first layer, 1%. Opening the fusion panel of Wind Thunder Manual. It was discovered that Wind Thunder Manual could fuse with Illusionary Dance, Bewitching Wind Step, Cloud Trail, Charming Shadow, and Astonishing. The fusion requires 10,000 energy points. After just half a breath of hesitation, Lu Yun chose to fuse. The next moment, the energy points on the panel sharply decreased by 10,000, and then the fusion began. 12 hours later, the fusion was completed. Instant Horizon, third layer of Wind Thunder Manual, fused with 3,000 Thunder Movement, Illusionary Dance, Bewitching Wind Step, Cloud Trail, Charming Shadow, and Astonishing. Upon reaching perfection, it can break through space and instantly move tens of thousands of miles away. Lu Yun's eyes lit up as he saw this information. With Instant Horizon, even if he couldn't defeat his opponents, he could escape, and he could easily escape tens of thousands of miles away. It felt so amazing. Upgrade it for me. Energy value dropped by 25,000 points at once. The gray figure in his mind began to cultivate. Soon after, the memories fused, and Lu Yun's attention returned to the panel. Cultivation techniques. Wind Thunder Manual, third layer. Instant Horizon, 100%. Ha! It feels like the space is about to break. The moment Instant Horizon's cultivation progress reached 100%, Lu Yun felt as if he was becoming more intimate with the world. He even faintly felt an urge to integrate into the space at will. Hold on, something's not right. Lu Yun's gaze returned to the panel. Conception, Slaughter Conception, third rank 35%. Thunder Conception, second rank 27%. Spatial Conception, first rank 17%. Chapter 304, Chapter 304, Chapter 187, Preparations Before Departure. Chapter 304, Chapter 187, Preparations Before Departure B0 Nvel. C0M Spatial Conception. Lu Yun rubbed his eyes, making sure that he wasn't seeing things. Moreover, the progress of the spatial conception was at first rank 17%. Lu Yun was excited for a while before finally calming down. But the lingering happiness in the corner of his eyes was enough to prove his excitement before. The spatial conception he had comprehended was never recorded in the book collection Pavilion's materials. Even more, no one had ever heard of spatial conception. Lu Yun's understanding of space came from his memories of his previous life. Time is king and space is supreme. Fate does not come out, and cause and effect are the highest. This sentence may not be entirely accurate, but it does have some reference value. The spatial conception is not very useful now, but once it becomes completely powerful, it will be my super trump card. Lu Yun's face was solemn. If it were any other conception, he wouldn't care too much about it, and wouldn't even actively try to improve it. However, the spatial conception was different. In his mind, it was far more important than the slaughter conception and the thunderbolt intent. Whether it was the slaughter conception, the thunderbolt intent, or the current spatial conception, they were all comprehended because of practicing the cultivation technique to the extreme or merging techniques. In this way, Lu Yun might comprehend even more conceptions in the future. If this were true, Lu Yun shook his head slightly. As the saying goes, greed won't help one, so he now had 3 conceptions. If he had more conceptions, he wouldn't have the energy to improve them. Immediately afterward, Lu Yun looked at the panel, and there were still many energy values left. 85,000 energy values. I remember the last time I upgraded the life destruction saber techniques. The progress of the slaughter conception also seemed to have improved. Seeing the slaughter conception's progress at only third rank 35% on the panel, Lu Yun had a plan in his heart. Especially after fighting with Gongliang Jin and Qin Wuming, it made him even more eager to improve his martial arts conception. In the previous battle, if it wasn't for his all-conquering fist, his strength wouldn't necessarily be much stronger than the two of them. Moreover, these two were just heavenly prides of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. Their sword and saber intents reached the peak of the 5th rank. Other even more monstrous heavenly prides would master even higher martial arts conceptions. Suddenly, Lu Yun began the new round of improvement with a single thought. 20,000 energy values were consumed, and the second layer of the life destruction saber techniques, Unparalleled Bloodblade, reached 100% progress. A strong torrent of memories rushed into his mind, beginning the fusion, and Lu Yun's blood-red killing intent became even stronger. The entire cultivation room turned into a place of unparalleled killing, with the temperature dropping to its lowest point. At this moment, Huang Qi, who was in charge of the pill medicine building, looked at Lu Yun's seclusion room with a slightly changed expression, hurriedly sealing off this chilling aura with his hands. It seems like the pavilion master has become even stronger. Seeing the intercepted coldness and the blood-red cultivation room, Huang Qi was visibly shocked. No wonder he is the first saint child of our Flying Spirit Martial Academy. His strength is constantly increasing. At the same time, Huang Qi also genuinely admired Lu Yun, who had such a monstrous talent, but spent almost every moment cultivating, except for refining pills. Time quietly passed by. Name: Lu Yun Cultivation Technique, Life Destruction Saber Techniques, second layer, Unparalleled Bloodblade, 100%. Energy value, 65,000, automatically increases by 8 per day. Conception, Slaughter Conception, third rank 70%. When the Unparalleled Bloodblade reaches its limit, the progress of the Slaughter Conception will also be upgraded by 1/3. Lu Yun nodded in satisfaction as the increase in the Slaughter Conception exceeded his expectations. At the same time, it also saved a considerable amount of energy value. Afterward, he embarked on a new round of improvements, but this time it was to improve the Slaughter Conception. For a third-rank Slaughter Conception, it required 150 energy values to increase by 1 progress. After consuming 4,500 energy values, the Slaughter Conception reached its limit in the 3rd rank. Continue to improve. A 4th-rank Slaughter Conception requires 300 energy values to increase by 1 progress. Consume 10,000 energy values. Consume 10,000 energy values. Finally, the energy values on the panel sharply dropped to 21,500, and the Slaughter Conception was upgraded to 4th rank 100%. How come this coldness keeps getting stronger? Huang Qi's initial shock turned into horror as he hurriedly increased his strength to barely stop the spreading coldness. Just the overflowing coldness forced me to use 40% of my strength to suppress it. If I face the pavilion master, I'm afraid I won't be able to unleash 80% of my strength. Huang Qi secretly marveled and ordered the pill medicine building to be closed, prohibiting anyone from approaching it. Even with Huang Qi's suppression, most of the pill medicine building was frozen, and bloody killing intent enveloped more than half of the pill medicine building. If other Martial Academy disciples are accidentally swept into it, even if they don't lose their minds, their spirits will suffer a great loss. As the person in charge of the pill medicine building, Huang Qi naturally had to prevent such a situation from happening. In the cultivation room, Lu Yun called out the panel again. Conception, Slaughter Conception, 5th rank 70%. Energy value, 0.05,000, automatically increases by 8 per day. Looking at the panel with a progress of 5th rank 70% in the Slaughter Conception, Lu Yun knew that he had become stronger again. At the same time, he was broke again. Just then, Lu Yun suddenly heard a voice. "Pavilion Master, I can't hold on much longer." The owner of the voice seemed to be afraid of disturbing Lu Yun's cultivation, so it was relatively quiet. However, with the Slaughter Conception's major breakthrough, his perception improved greatly due to the feedback to his spirit.